Welcome to Morgantown, West Virginia, a great college town where the fans are always fanatical about their Mountaineers. But tonight, the atmosphere is electric with number 3 Virginia Tech in town. Next year, Tech moves to the ACC. The series will continue, but tonight is a chance for the Mountaineers to give the Hokies an unwanted parting gift and do damage to Tech's national title hopes. And here comes upset-minded West Virginia on a Mountaineer field before a raucous crowd of nearly 60,000 on hand to watch Wednesday night football in the last head-to-head meeting for West Virginia and Virginia Tech as fellow members of the Big East Conference. Last year, West Virginia traveled to Blacksburg and upset then number 12 Virginia Tech. Quincy Wilson with a 42-yard touchdown run. That gave the Mountaineers the lead. Down by 3 in the final seconds, Brian Randall threw an interception in the end zone. Brian King with the pick, and West Virginia had the upset by 3. Sean McDonough along with Rod Gilmore and Craig James, delighted to have you with us. Many of you saw that game last year on ESPN. Many of you also saw West Virginia nearly pull off one of the biggest upsets of this season at Miami about 3 weeks ago. Craig, can they do it tonight?
Absolutely they can do it. I mean, this is a 2-4 team, but don't be fooled by that record. This is a football team who's been on the road. They almost beat Miami. Came down to the last few seconds there. This is a football team that's going to challenge Virginia Tech. I'm really excited about this game. I want to find out how good Virginia Tech is. I've heard a lot about them. I want to see their speed. I want to see their athleticism. D'Angelo Hall, if you return a punt tonight, hats off to you.
Yeah, but your question is on the road, can they handle the road and the crowd? Va Tech's been playing most of their games at home. And if they can handle the road, can they handle Quincy Wilson? You know who I'm talking about. You watch the Miami game. Watch this play. Maybe the play of the year in college football. Screen pass, Wilson outside, delivers a blow, jumps over a guy, gets a touchdown. It's that kind of performance that they'll need tonight if they're going to pull off the upset.
Well, if he does a hurdle job tonight, they'll go crazy here. He's strong enough.
Comes to town 6-0, but largely untested. In 5 of those 6 games at home in Blacksburg. They're playing here on an overcast and blustery night. 43 degrees and dropping rapidly. We had off and on rain here today, and there is the chance of some more precipitation. Maybe even some snow in the higher elevations of the beautiful mountain state of West Virginia. The Mountaineers won the toss and deferred, and Virginia Tech elected to receive. So Brad Cooper will kick off to Mike Emo and Cedric Humes. And it comes down to Humes, the sophomore from Virginia Beach. He returns across the 25 to the 27-yard line. A 17-yard return. Tech on offense, led by Brian Randall, the junior from Williamsburg, Virginia. It isn't often you hear a coach say a player has been perfect, but when we spoke with Frank Beamer, the head coach of the Hokies yesterday, he said Randall has been perfect, accurate in his throwing and decision-making, a great threat, both running and throwing the ball. They open in the I formation with the fullback Doug Eastlick in front of Kevin Jones. And Randall lost the snap and was forced to fall on it. Back at the 24-yard line, a loss of 2 on the play. The rest of the Virginia Tech offense, Jones working on a string of 4 straight 100-yard rushing games. The wideouts are Hamilton and Wilford, and we'll see 3 tight ends, including Keith Willis. And the offensive line, a good group, anchored by Jake Grove, the All-American candidate at center. Jimmy Martin, the left tackle, playing with an injured elbow, an injury suffered in practice during the 10-day span between games. Each of these teams was off this past Saturday. They're working on a week and a half of preparation. Jones up the middle to the 28, perhaps the 29. West Virginia with a unique 3-3-5 look on defense. The front 3 of Hunter, Lynch, and Bluford, a bit undersized. Outstanding linebackers. That's the strength of the defense with Lenort between Wiley, another All-American candidate, and Jerko. And in the secondary, it's Jones, King, Washington, Lorello, and Frazier. And onto the field comes D'Angelo Hall, top of your screen, nearest the Virginia Tech sideline. The 3-way threat, offense, defense, and special teams. And they go to him a lot in just this situation, 3rd down. Whistle stopped the play.
Sean, right at the top, we talked about whether Virginia Tech can handle the crowd. Craig, 2 out of the 3 plays, they've not handled it. Fumbled snap and then a delay of game.
You know, exactly right, on the road for the first time in a hostile environment. And I said, you know, earlier on, Brian Randall's got to play poised, good football. He can't make mistakes, and exactly what West Virginia wanted to have happen here at the beginning of a ball game.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Delay against the offense, dead ball, personal foul, defense.
It was Pac-Man Jones of West Virginia who committed a terrible penalty, the personal foul. And here it is, the whistle stops, and here comes Jones, boom, laying the hit on Ernest Wilford.
Yeah, I'm not so sure because it's pretty loud. I'm going to give Jones the benefit of the doubt there. I mean, he sees a guy coming across into his territory, and if he hasn't heard the whistle, then, you know, can he hold on?
I wonder if the official didn't like the idea that the hand went towards the head.
And I'll tell you this. Coming out as an official in a game like this, a hostile environment, you send a message right now. We're not going to tolerate any kind of excessive hitting in this ball game.
Well, that's a big penalty. It would have been 3rd down and 13 for Virginia Tech. Instead, 1st and 10 at the 39-yard line. West Virginia has been penalty prone. Virginia Tech, the least penalized team in the Big East. Jones, a nice bounce to the outside. And lowers his shoulder for a couple more. Out near the 44-yard line. Jones, the junior from Chester, Pennsylvania, taken down by Lance Frazier.
Question is...
He's your Heisman guy, isn't he?
Well, I said he's a Heisman guy. I don't know that he's my Heisman guy, but a lot of guys might vote for him. He's had 4 straight games over 100 yards. There's no question he's a talented running back. Will he show up in the big games now? They have some big ones coming up, including tonight. He's got to perform on the big stage.
Well, in this game here tonight, he's going to get a lot of 2 tight ends, power football, a chance to go against his 3-3-5 defense. If he's got it in him, tonight's a big night.
Saw the graphic. He wore number 7 last year. We'll tell you the reason why he changed the number in a moment. Here's Randall. Breaks 1 tackle, then goes down at the 45. Fred Bluford made the first hit. Jones changed his number because after the San Francisco Bowl at the end of last season, he returned home to find that the son of his grade school coach had died. And when he played for that coach, he wore number 25, so he changed to the number 25 in memory of his former coach's late son.
He's worked hard, and he's a good player. And again, this is one of the reasons I'm glad I'm here. It's a great environment, and there are a lot of good players on this field.
D'Angelo Hall back on the field. He's one of the great players. He's at the bottom of your screen now, and Randall looked in his direction for a moment, then through to the other side for a first down. Ernest Wilford, their leading receiver for the season, almost cost himself the first down as he curled back near the marker. But they mark him down at the 49 of West Virginia, and a first down.
Craig, I'd say this was pretty perfect. He looked left, looked right, then comes back to his 3rd option on this one to make the play. That's pretty good quarterback.
And Wilford had the time to get over there and get set. There was 2 receivers and 3 men around him. Blue jerseys have to go attract and find the white jerseys. And a lot of time for Randall to throw the ball.
Virginia Tech averaging 45 points per game. They're the highest scoring team in the conference. Movement before the snap. Almost looked like the center forgot the snap count. He held on to it so long with everybody else moving around him.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Dunn and Keith Willis on the right end of the line. Those guilty of the early movement for Coach Beamer.
I really think they're having trouble hearing down there. I think the crowd, the emotion early in the ball game, Virginia Tech is struggling with that. They have not been on the road very often. 5 out of their 6 games were at home. The other one might as well have been a home game. It was at Rutgers.
High formation on 1st and 15. The Hokies back at their own 46. And the toss to Jones, in trouble. He shed 1 tackle, but still out of bounds for a loss. And there is a flag down on the play. They mark Jones out at the 45 for a loss of 1. Scott Jerko up from his linebacker position. He's a former walk-on, holding the call against Virginia Tech. Jerko grew up right here in Morgantown, dreamed of playing for the Mountaineers coming out of high school. His only Division I offer was at Virginia Military. He had a number of Division II and 1AA offers. His parents said, take VMI, take the money, take the scholarship. He said, no, I'm going to walk on, and now he is on scholarship and playing at a much higher level.
Holding, gets the offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
You mentioned Jerko walking on here. The first time he walked into this stadium, he was 2 years old and couldn't get it out of his blood. He wanted to be a part of the blue and gold here.
I think it's remarkable the success they've had in this program over the years when you consider on a good year in this state they will have 5 or 6 prospects, high school football players who go on to play Division I football. There are only about 1.8 million people in the entire state of West Virginia. Gives you an idea of what a remarkable job Don Nealon did for the 2 decades he was the head coach here. Here's Jones with some running room outside. Now he's chopped down at the 46. They need to get to the 39 of West Virginia for a first down. Brian King and Lance Frazier combining on the stop of Jones, a gain of 10.
You know, you get a feel here in the game early on that both teams kind of feeling themselves out, and I think defensively West Virginia is figuring out if you don't tackle Jones low, you're not going to tackle him.
I think you're right, and he can set you up. I mean, he had a little hesitation move on that last run. You're going to have a hard time figuring out where to hit him because he has a lot of stuff he can throw at you.
4 wide receivers spread the formation on 2nd down and 15. Nearly 5 minutes played. Here comes a blitz. Randall got away and then dumped it off to Jones with running room and very close to a first down at the 40-yard line of the Mountaineers. He's a little slow to get up, as is Pac-Man Jones, who was in on the tackle for West Virginia.
Randall has to make plays on the road. This is one of the things we said was going to be important to them. I'm impressed with the pressure they're putting on him at times, but his ability, you see, he just didn't run, did he?
No, he was looking to throw that ball. Hey, nice job.
3rd down and 1. Kevin Jones, the lone back. And a timeout called by Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech.
West Virginia has not had the ball yet. Still scoreless in Morgantown. Out of a timeout called by Virginia Tech. The Hokies with 3rd down and 1 at the 40-yard line of West Virginia on the opening drive of the game. 3 tight ends on the field. One of them, Jeff King, went in motion. Jones threw a big hole on the right. And he's down at the 27-yard line with a 13-yard gain and a first down.
Pretty methodical, and they're just gashing them right now. This comes off the right side, Craig. Watch the good block, and they're just driving them inside. Jones has his choice of a couple of holes, goes outside, and I don't know if this 3-3-5 defense can stack up in short yardage situations.
Well, they're going to have to fill lanes and be a lot more responsible with their assignments, and they're going to have to get low on Jones. Jones impressive with the power that he's showing right now.
Drive more than 6 minutes long now for the Hokies, primarily on the ground. And it's Jones across the 25, and that's all. The Hokies are averaging 249 yards per game on the ground. That's 4th in the nation. But we've talked about their schedule. They really haven't faced the iron of Division I-A college football so far.
And West Virginia has. West Virginia's had to play Wisconsin. They've had some tough opponents out there, Miami. And so when you talk about that, that just gets them battle tested.
I think you're right about that. And we're going to find out tonight.
D'Angelo Hall on the field again at the bottom of the screen. Randall looks in his direction, throws in his direction, intercepted. Brian King, who had the game-clinching interception at Blacksburg last year, haunts Brian Randall again. Last year, he said he baited Randall into the throw, and it looked like he did again this time with Hall.
Yeah, look at Hall. What happens there? There's the void. Here's your void. The play is late. The ball is late getting there. Randall's got to come up and throw that football. He's late.
He's absolutely late. And King did nothing but read his eyes and wait and come over. Baited him again. He baited him to throw that ball. That's a good job. How about King? How do you keep catching balls when you got a bad wrist like he has?
He's had wrist problems throughout his career. Has had pins in the wrist. The wrist passed it. And yet the senior was able to hang on for the interception. West Virginia on offense for the first time tonight. Quincy Wilson took a hit from his own teammate and bounced ahead for 1 yard, tackled by Coles Colas, the defensive end. A no huddle offense is West Virginia. It's not always a hurry up, but they're up to the line pretty quickly here. Rasheed Marshall, the quarterback. Going deep, there was contact and a flag thrown. He was looking for Chris Henry, who collided with D'Angelo Hall, and the flag thrown at the 31-yard line.
I think D'Angelo Hall was shocked because nobody really challenges at him, and they go after him on the second play of the game offensively.
And Henry's a big target, a big receiver. You see the slip there with D'Angelo Hall? You know, maybe a little tardy with his footwork. It's slippery. The three of us were on the field before the game. It rained here earlier.
Get to defense. Get to previous spot. First down.
And that water on that field is still down there. It's slippery.
There wasn't that contact. That might have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
Because it looked like Henry was going to run right by him, and there was no safety help. You're looking at Rasheed Marshall, the junior from Pittsburgh, only about an hour and change up the road from Morgantown. They've had trouble throwing the ball this year. They'd like to be balanced, but they've been predominantly a running team. They've run more than twice as many running plays this season as they have pass plays. They worked out of the spread offense. And the handoff to Quincy Wilson. That looked a lot like that run on the screen pass against Miami. There's Wilson again, just lowering his head and running over Brandon Manning. Chris Henry, McQuell Henderson, and Rayshon Bolden, the three wideouts in the spread, and Josh Bailey, the tight end. The offensive line has been a problem. They lost their best lineman before the season started, Tim Brown. They've used 10 different combinations up front. And you saw tonight's group with Watson, the junior college transfer, now in a tackle.
That Quincy Wilson, he's all man back
there was some wood delivered right then.
Jeremy Hines, also a new starter at center tonight. Ben Timmons out with an injury. Wilson running the other way. Flag down. Wilson down near the 30. Looked like there might have been a hold against West Virginia on the corner. And the Virginia Tech defense, an outstanding front four, including the brothers Lewis, Kevin, the older brother.
Go back,
Manning, McKee, and Robinson, the linebacker core. Hall, Williams, Crawford, and Green in the secondary. They're playing without Darnell Wilds, who injured a knee during the 10-day break between games. There's Bud Foster, the defensive coordinator. He's been on the staff since the late 80s, has been the coordinator for 9 years now.
Yeah, I think he's been around about 17 years. He's an institution at Virginia Tech.
Out of the shotgun with K.J. Harris and Quincy Wilson. Next to Marshall. A lot of the players just stopped. There are flags but no whistles, and the pass is completed to Travis Garvin at the 30-yard line. The entire offensive line just stayed over the ball. But the pass was completed for a 14-yard gain. I'm not sure I've ever seen anything quite like that before.
No. I mean, they stayed over there until the ball was blown dead.
They were all in their stances, like they didn't realize
hey,
the ball had been
I'm
snapped.
not getting caught for moving. Don't even think about it.
Defense. Penalties decline. Third down.
That's pretty impressive there. This is offensive line. You know, their offensive line coach, they don't want to get penciled out, do they?
Don't watch the ball. Just look, the line never moves. They never move.
And what a heads-up hard by Marshall, too, huh?
Good alertness by the rest of them. West Virginia with movement again. Again, the offensive line stays in place, and this pass is incomplete. On 3rd and 6, it might become 3rd and 1. Chris Henry, the intended receiver, the throw too high. What is going on here? That's a good question, Frank. Once again, after the movement by Virginia Tech, the West Virginia offensive line never came up out of their stances.
Obviously, the defensive line's listening right now to the bark. I mean, you'll see it here. They don't move. This group here, offensive line, they're just going to say, stay put.
Well, it looked like the center, snapped at the moment he saw movement.
5 penalties for 40 yards. They average 43 yards per game in penalties. A little more than midway through the quarter, Virginia Tech almost to its per game average. Rasheed Marshall keeps on 3rd and 1 and has the first down.
All right, Craig, let's go back to this spread offense for a moment, what they do here at West Virginia. Rich Rodriguez had this thing at Tulane, and then he had it at Clemson, and they spread people out and they throw the ball. They don't really throw it anymore. They just kind of pound people now.
And he says that's a misconception that you have. You go no huddle, and you're just trying to give the ability for yourself to go fast tempo if you want to, but they will run the football.
Quincy Wilson, you mentioned it goes back to his stints as an offensive coordinator at Tulane Clemson. It actually goes back to his days as a head coach in NAIA. Rich Rodriguez played here at West Virginia, was a defensive back for Don Nehlen, got a head coaching job at age 24. He was coaching at Salem College, was an assistant. The head coach left. They made him the head coach. He was all excited. They went out and played one season, had a good year, and had just about everybody coming back. Marshall dumps it off near side, and close to another first down. They do have it as Josh Bailey goes out of bounds. That is the first reception by a tight end or fullback for West Virginia this year. They don't throw to the tight ends and fullbacks very often.
Go back to your story. I want to hear more.
Rich Rodriguez, we have a good year. Now I'm 25. I've got a team that's rolling, Salem College. He gets a call one day to come in and meet with the athletic director. There'll be news that's not going to be good to the program. The news was they were dropping the program. A university in Japan had purchased the college and was dropping a number of sports, including football. So Rich came back here as a volunteer assistant under Don Nehlen and made money by teaching driver's ed at a high school about an hour away.
Until about 1 o'clock.
Yes, and then he come here. And then he went back into NAIA coaching at Glenville State, where he had a great run for 7 years. And then went on to join Tommy Bowden at Tulane. But he has had an interesting career path, to say the least. On 2nd and long, a good throw by Marshall. Escaping is Chris Henry. First down, West Virginia to the 38-yard line of the Hokies. A gain of 12. Henry's their leading receiver for the year, and he has just 11 catches coming in. They haven't had much success through the air.
Look at Henry. He comes back. He works to the inside. D'Angelo Hall's not seeing the game. He's not matching up.
I think D'Angelo Hall has just gotten accustomed to the fact that people ignore him. He's
lazy right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's a great corner. He hasn't been tested most of the season, and now they're going after him early in the ballgame. He didn't expect that.
3 receivers and the lone back. Wilson with a lot of running room. Flag down. Probably for a hold at about the 20-yard line. Wilson goes down near the 3-yard line. But it looked like there was a hold at about the 20 to 22-yard line. And it was Chris Henry, it appeared, the wide receiver, and he's getting an earful now from Rich Rodriguez.
And he didn't have to do it. He did not have to do it. Quincy Wilson was into the secondary, and given the way he runs, Craig, there was a pretty good chance.
The offense, 10-yard penalty, spot on the foul, still first down.
That was interesting. D'Angelo Hall going over and chatting with Rich Rodriguez. Wonder there'd been some talk back and forth between the sideline and Hall.
Now watch him get into the open here.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. You're right about that, because with his power, he's going to one-arm it, stiff-arm it, run him over, something. But they are definitely going at D'Angelo Hall. And how about the eyes and the vision and the patience of Wilson in the backfield? He let him over-pursue, which is an aggressive defense right now, and he cut back.
From the spot of the foul, so it's first down and 4 for West Virginia at the 32-yard line. 4.5 left in the opening quarter. No score. Each team has moved the ball on its first drive. K.J. Harris, the backup to Wilson. He delivered a stiff arm to Eric Green, and another flag thrown downfield. Harris out of bounds at the 14-yard line.
Wow. And K.J. Harris, he's a load coming through there. He's about 240 pounds, a little different from Quincy Wilson, but he can run. He's got good speed, too.
And this flag, as you could hear from the roar, is against Virginia Tech.
Personal foul, face mask, against the defense, Half the distance to the goal line. First down.
They say 240 pounds, but we had lunch with him yesterday and a couple of these teammates, and I think after he left lunch, he went to about 243.
You gained a couple too,
hey,
friend.
I tell you what, he got a little face mask of Eric Green on that play too, and stiff-armed him.
He ate a bunch of fried shrimp, I know that.
He might have been 240 when they weighed in at the beginning of the year. First and goal, West Virginia. Harris bounces outside, touchdown! Excellent block on the corner by the tight end, Ryan Thomas. Helped Harris go around the corner untouched.
This was a football team who came in here ready to play tonight. And I'm talking about West Virginia. They've been through it. I mean, there's just something right to say about being battle-tested.
Well, and you know something? They overcame penalties on that drive as well. A long drive. That's pretty impressive.
A 10-play drive. They were helped by Virginia Tech penalties. Brad Cooper adds the extra point. K.J. Harris, the junior from Tampa. Former minor league baseball player in the Texas Rangers organization. It's a home run. It's 7-0. K.J. Harris, the touchdown, capping a 90-yard drive for this West Virginia offense that has struggled through much of the year. They're at or near the bottom in many offensive categories in the Big East. K.J. Harris capped the drive with a 7-yard run. Brad Cooper to kick off to Mike Emo and Cedric Humes. Rich Rodriguez talked about the importance of a good start. You have a raucous crowd that wants to get behind this team. They have reason to believe right now that was an impressive drive by WVU. And a good kick by Cooper. Humes takes an knee. Brian Randall and the Hokies offense coming back on the field. They'll have the ball for the second time when we come back. 7-0 West Virginia. Trying to hand number 3 Virginia Tech its first loss of the season. The Hokies roll into Morgantown at 6-0. Moved the ball effectively on their first drive before Brian Randall threw an interception. Randall leading the option. Nice cut. And he's tripped up right along the first down line at the 30, tripped up by Leandre Washington.
Let's go back to the touchdown. Watch your right side. You saw the defensive line crash down inside Craig, and that lets him get outside.
And Hall, number 4's got to fill that hole. He's kind of sat there and waited on him. He's got to get up in there. He allowed the bounce to take place.
The defensive ends for Virginia Tech really like to crash down inside, so West Virginia will bounce things outside, especially Harris.
It is a first down for Randall and Virginia Tech. Play action fake and a completion to Justin Hamilton. The sophomore out to the 44-yard line. A 14-yard gain. Let's head down toward the sideline and welcome in Sam Ryan. Hi, Sam.
Hey, Sean, you guys have been mentioning hostile environment. Well, Morgantown police have taken measures trying to prevent any type of post-game disturbances here in Morgantown, which is quite familiar with street fires. There have been more than 900 since 1997. So earlier in the week, they went around rounding up any type of bonfire-type materials, such as couches, which you can see are quite popular this time of year. They've also added extra officers in the stands. Keep in mind, they played in Blacksburg last year. A goalpost came down here, guys.
That's right. After the game, which was in Blacksburg, students ran into this stadium, ripped down the goalpost. They set couches on fire all over Morgantown. That is unfortunately a tradition.
Yeah, that's the way
here at West Virginia University. They light bonfires, and all week long, the fire chief and his people have been confiscating couches left on porches.
How do you get a tradition of burning couches?
Well, and on a cold day like this, why do you have your couch on the front porch? You know, why are you outside on a couch? Couch is for the living room.
This is a spirited rivalry. They're about 5 hours apart, these two universities. Bad pitch by Randall. It's on the ground and smothered for a moment by Richard Johnson. Then he lost it. And Mike Lorello has it for West Virginia. Second turnover. for Virginia Tech, and Randall's been involved in both of them.
Watch the pressure from the inside out. Watch the attack on the quarterback, forcing the pitch. Beautiful job of making the pitch occur, and Jones took his eyes off of it.
Yeah, that ball was a little bit behind him, but you know, you're right. You got to be focused on the ball. It was a bad pitch because it happened very fast, like you said.
Kevin McLeod, 43, came up, smoked Randall, forced the pitch, and you've got to be prepared as a pitch back for the early chunk.
Johnson had it for a moment, but couldn't hang on to it. Lorello came up with it. First and 10 from the Virginia Tech 36. They want to strike quickly. Marshall down the seam. Is that a catch? Yes, it is. And an acrobatic one by Torrey Johnson. We mentioned their tight ends didn't have a catch the whole year. Now they have two.
Oh, boy. They had their choices on the play action down the middle to Johnson. They also had a wide-open receiver on the right side. And Johnson, look at that effort. That's Kellen Winslow effort.
That's the catch that hurt them in Miami.
Yeah.
But hey, you know, you talk about an over-aggressive defense at Virginia Tech, and Rasheed Marshall showing a lot of vision and poise right now.
West Virginia.
They've had difficulty throwing the football this year. He's completed under 50% of his passes. There was some confusion with the signals, apparently. And that's the reason why West Virginia used a timeout. Sure, they didn't want to use the timeout there. They had everything going in their favor. Rodriguez,
you know, I enjoyed him. We meet coaches every week. And his enthusiasm, his obvious passion for his alma mater, and that tempo, that up-tempo offense, them going to the line of scrimmage, and I think it's working right now.
I think you're absolutely right. It is working. I think Virginia Tech is a little bit off their game. They're surprised by what they're seeing, the tight ends, the bounce outside, and I think the crowd. All those three things, I think, have hurt them so far.
I just think the last thing West Virginia wanted was a timeout when they had the crowd rocking and they were moving and everything working in their favor in a Virginia Tech team that is a little bit rattled right now.
I believe that before this game started, Virginia Tech thought they were going to pound West Virginia.
I don't think there was any risk of them looking past this game. At least they said all the right things when we talked with the players and coaches. They lost to this West Virginia team last year at home. They saw West Virginia come within an eyelash of beating Miami. There's Wilson inside the 5. They'll mark him down at the 5-yard line. First and goal, West Virginia looking to go up by 2 touchdowns.
It's just a trap play inside. Here you see the lineman pulling around, and then good block by Johnson. Huge hole inside. That's what you do to a fast defense. Once again, crashing down from the ends. Again, that time Cole is crashing down. They've got him inside in the trap.
And a good block by the pulling Jeff Burt. Down to the goal line. Touchdown, Quincy Wilson.
I'd be worried if I owned a couch in this town right now.
Brad Cooper on to try the extra point. They needed just 3 plays after the fumble to go to 36 yards. Wilson, the 5-yard touchdown run. 2 minutes left in the first quarter. West Virginia leads 14-0. Let's check in with Reese Davis.
All right, Sean, Trev Alberts and Mark May with me. Not only couches, as they probably day beds and sleeper sofas, too. I was talking to Jim Donnan about this game today, and he said he didn't know if Virginia Tech could stop the run because they're a little soft in the middle on defense. That's what we're seeing so far.
Well, he's absolutely right. In this game, what they've been able to do is the offensive line to establish control and domination. They're moving the defenders of Virginia Tech back away from the line of scrimmage. But for me, Trev, I want to find out if West Virginia can continue to do this for 4 quarters. Remember, against Miami, they had the lead and lost it.
I talked to Bud Foster last night, the defensive coordinator of Virginia Tech, and he told me, looks like you said, the whole key to the game was his defensive tackles. Were they strong enough in the middle? He said Quincy Wilson's as good a running back as we'll see all year long. They think he was that good.
And as the guys mentioned, too, and you got the impression from Coach Foster, no way they were looking past West Virginia to head to Miami. They knew what they were in for, and boy, they are getting it so far, guys.
Well, you're absolutely right. They are getting it, and You heard the guys talk about the tackles. The other thing with Virginia Tech defensively, and for West Virginia planned for it, when those ends crash down, Craig, they look to bounce everything outside.
It reminds me of watching a Mark May game where he's just pulverizing a Trev Alberts in the hole right now.
Cooper's kickoff into the end zone to Cedric Humes. And he's tackled shy of the 20-yard line by this fired-up West Virginia coverage team. That's James Woodruff, a backup defensive back.
You know, you're going to see the tailback score. Watch the fullback. Watch the fullback lead in there on 45 in the middle. There's just a lot of receiving by the defense right now.
One other thing. We were told yesterday by K.J. Harris, Virginia Tech's defensive players, too many arm tackles. They're going to run right through them. And we've seen them run hard.
And a pause before the snap.
Please turn off the sound amplification system.
They're playing some noise over the PA system while Virginia Tech is in the huddle. So the crowd says, okay, we'll make the noise.
That's all they needed.
That worked. I couldn't even hear it while ago.
From the 17, 1st and 10. Jones, nifty footwork. And pulled down short of the first down to the 25-yard line by Kevin McLeod. Backup linebacker, nicknamed Boo. We spoke with Jeff Castile yesterday, the defensive coordinator. He said McLeod has a lot of talent, but sometimes he plays our defense, and sometimes he plays the defense he played in high school. Well, we'd like him to play their defense exclusively.
That's what happens with freshmen sometimes, you know? Takes a while to get it out of your system.
Well, you have to forget that part first and then put into practice what you're learning here in West Virginia. Gain of 8 for Jones. He'll try the right side. Good penetration and a loss. They're flying up from the secondary. Brian King made the tackle. He had plenty of help.
Well, they want to make Jones bounce everything in the backfield. And you'll see them bring run blitzes inside, get penetration to make him bounce it outside, and they want the ball to flow out to their safeties to make tackles outside the hash mark. That's the idea behind this defensive game plan against Virginia Tech's offense.
On this particular series, Virginia Tech has not panicked. They've gone too tight. They tried to run the ball to get back in the game.
Angelo Hall back on the field on offense. Play clock down to 4 as Randall operates out of the gun. Surveying the entire field. Has to get rid of it. He did not go down. Managed to stay on his feet. And now he's down short of a first down. Matter of fact, a loss of 2 on the play. Ben Lynch, the nose guard, junior from Oil City, Pennsylvania, with help from his fellow Oil City native Adam Lenort on the play.
And the good decision here was not to do anything. If you make a play now, you take a chance and make a bad play, you could be down by 21 points. But he took the ball away and did not commit a turnover down there. That's a pretty good job, I think, in that situation for Randall.
And a big play by Lynch. We visited with him yesterday. He said, I played horribly in the last game against Rutgers. Not so far tonight. A dream in the first quarter for West Virginia fans. Their Mountaineers lead 14-0. Start of the second quarter here in Morgantown. Sean McDonough with Rod Gilmore, Craig James, and Sam Ryan. West Virginia leading 14-0, and Virginia Tech about to punt. They turned it over in their first 2 possessions. And now here's Vinnie Burns, the junior from New Orleans, averaging 42 yards per punt. Had a great game against Syracuse in their last game, averaged 47 per kick. This is not a great punt that goes out of bounds with no chance for a return by Pac-Man Jones. Well, fellas, It was hard to know what to expect tonight. Virginia Tech certainly looks like an enormously talented team, but hadn't really been tested yet by the schedule. West Virginia looked great against Miami, lost to Cincinnati. How do you figure?
Well, we know one thing. We know that West Virginia can run the football. There might have been a question beforehand, but they're doing it against a pretty good defense right now.
How about Rasheed Marshall, the quarterback, 4 for 4? He's throwing the football. He's not making mistakes. He's making good decisions. And I think, in my opinion, the speed of the defense at West Virginia has shocked me and Virginia Tech.
The only 2 wins for West Virginia have been against East Carolina, team that got its first win last weekend, and Rutgers. Here's a pass up in the air and broken up. Intended for K.J. Harris, and Brandon Manning, the linebacker, broke it up. We check our ESPN game track.
Well, you talk about the first quarter. Virginia Tech turnovers. A pick by King got things going. And then the bad pitch on the fumble. Kevin Jones loses that when they get it back, and it was all the running game.
Yeah, it was the running game. And how about the offensive line? There's no penetration whatsoever in this game by Virginia Tech. And I think that's given the ability for the cutbacks and the bounces.
2 tight ends in the game now for West Virginia on 2nd and 10. Quincy Wilson, the lone back. He gets the call, had a nice hole, and good line surge as well. Finally, Mikel McKee made the tackle on Wilson, but not before he picked up 6 to the 41-yard line.
Somehow Virginia Tech has to just kind of, catch its breath. It's almost like, let's regroup, fellas. We're on the road. We are now facing a team that has a lot of speed.
I think you're right, and I think it would also help if D'Angelo Hall got involved a little bit more. I think you're right. Slow start for him, but if he picks it up, I think that'll help their defense.
Timeout called by Rasheed Marshall, the second used by West Virginia. First minute of the second quarter. Frank Beamer and the Hokies trailing 14-0. After the West Virginia timeout, the Mountaineers looking at 3rd down and 4 at their own 41-yard line, leading Virginia Tech 14-0. Rasheed Marshall out of the shotgun, the option, the pitch, the first down and more. Quincy Wilson to the 48-yard line of the Hokies.
And they caught them in a soft coverage, so they really had no support out there. You'll see them coming up. Now watch, look how far back all the coverage is out there. The support is way off, and so the pitch was the perfect call against the perfect coverage.
That's what going to the line of scrimmage, looking at what the defense has. If the play works, you stick with it. If it doesn't, you get out of it.
11-yard gain for Wilson. He is 56 yards rushing. Here's his backup, K.J. Harris. Chopped down a nice open field play by Brandon Manning, the junior from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, who's been pressed for playing time now with the outside linebacker position by Aaron Rouse, a freshman who is coming on quickly. They have talent in both of those gentlemen.
West Virginia's averaging about 8 yards per play in this football game, which means they're not in those 2nd and long and 3rd and long situations.
Rich Rodriguez acts as his own offensive coordinator. He calls the plays. K.J. Harris again, found a hole, squirted through, first down.
Oh my goodness. They are just gashing them, Craig.
And let's just look. And when you see what's happening here, the guards, look at all the work that they have. There's absolutely no problem with the slide through, the slither effect. Everybody's matching up, and there's no penetration, no push by Virginia Tech.
A hat on a hat.
An offensive line that has struggled with injuries all season long. It's really been the weakness of this football team. And a timeout called by Virginia Tech. Bud Foster not accustomed to seeing this from his talented defensive unit. Each team with 1 timeout remaining in the half, still 13:04 left. Raising a smile and cheer if you're a fan of the blue and gold of West Virginia. The Mountaineers, after a 9-win season last year, have struggled to a 2-4 mark this year. But they have controlled this football game through the first 17 minutes, leading 14-0 on 1st and 10. Quincy Wilson inside the 30 to the 29. And gentlemen, this is an offense that had really been struggling, last in the Big East in total yards and passing yards, 7th in the conference in scoring, but they have been a good rushing team. Last year they were 2nd in the nation in rushing offense.
Of course, you alluded to the problem that they've had early on, just the mixtures of offensive lines. They've had so many combinations.
They've rushed for 102 yards already. The line again, many of them did not move. The throw out of bounds by Rasheed Marshall, looking for Dee Alston.
Well, the question with this offense has really been Marshall's ability to throw the ball, to get it down the field. That's been frustrating.
My question, fellas, is what's going on with this offensive line? That time, 3 offensive linemen again never came out.
They thought that they were offsides. Yeah. They snapped it early, and they did their usual Statue of Liberty.
It's the same thing they did in the first quarter. They think they catch a guy, the offensive line won't move, and the skilled players go ahead and run the play.
I think once they start running around, though, everybody else starts running. You're kind of free to come out of your stance. I think you made your point. We didn't move. 3rd down and 6. They tried to ground with Quincy Wilson, and the Hokies were not fooled. Coles Colas, the left end, making his 18th career start tonight. How about his numbers at his size, guys? He runs a 4.41 40. Bench press is 420 pounds at 241.
That's pretty good.
And you know what? Here on 4th down, I'd go for it, because about the only way that, or one way, and a significant way that Virginia Tech can get back in the game is blocking the kick or returning it.
Well, they're going to try and gain field position here and punt this ball. They're out of
a very deep shotgun, which makes me think it's a quick kick. And a little bit of a shank. Craig, I know you're familiar with those.
I had a few of those.
The ball rolls down to the 19-yard line.
Hey, it worked.
A 16-yard punt. College football Thursday. That's tomorrow, folks. Maryland and Georgia Tech in an ACC battle. That gets underway at 7:30. Of course, Maryland quarterbacked by a former Mountaineer, Scott McBrien. The Terps really put it on this West Virginia team earlier this season, 34-7. Maryland's won 5 in a row since starting with losses to Northern Illinois and Florida State. That should be an excellent game tomorrow night at 7:30. Jones forced to bounce outside. Good pursuit from the speedy West Virginia defense. And it's Brian King, bad wrist and all, making the play. Of course, the wrist generally doesn't affect your running, Sam.
That's right, Sean. Well, it's been broken, sprained, jammed, and operated on, and right now he's wearing a cast for protection, although nothing is broken right now. His doctors told him the damage has already been done and that his wrist appears to have arthritis and scar tissue of a 65-year-old man. He said it hurts him sometimes even to brush his teeth or talk on the phone. Doctors have suggested fusing the bones together in his wrist, which means no movement, but no pain. He is considering that, Sean.
No, that doesn't sound like fun. Cedric Humes, the backup tailback, in now to give Jones a breather. And here's Humes, sophomore from Virginia Beach, tackled by Fred Bluford, very near a first down at the 28-yard line.
Sean, going back to the wrist injury for King, he's had a wrist problem for so long that he's become accustomed to playing with. You see the cast there. So even though it's painful, he's learned how to tackle with it. He's learned how to intercept the ball with it. It's something that's going to be a problem for him after football. That's just an example for you, Craig, of the price you pay sometimes for playing this game.
I think it's just an excuse so he didn't have to brush his teeth.
What's your excuse?
Hey, there's three, there's an extra guy and an extra guy on the outside. That's what West Virginia's doing. They're keeping 8 around the box.
Randall throws, and it is caught by Justin Hamilton. On 1st and 10, they get 10 more. It seems they have another first down out of the 38. Adam Jones made the tackle.
And here's what I'm talking about. There's the 3-3, and then they've got an extra guy up here in the corner. They're tied around the box. See, they've got 8, and it's not just the 6.
Right, and the idea is really on running plays to flush things to the outside and let those fast 5 defensive backs, run things down and make tackles for short gains.
People might be asking why. Rich Rodriguez said when he got here, they didn't have many defensive lineman types. They had a lot of good linebackers and secondary players. So go to this alignment and get your best athletes on the field. Movement before the snap. Looked like the tight end moved.
Well, Sean, and the other thing is that you can recruit those
guys.
Prior
to the snap. False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
It's easier to recruit the guys to play linebacker than defensive linemen.
Virginia Tech and West Virginia, great rivalry. It dates back to 1912. Tech has won 10 of the last 14. But tonight, Tech about a 2-touchdown favorite. Coming in here at 6-0, trailing 14-0. Frank Beamer was worried about this. He said it reminded him a lot of 1999 when Tech came here undefeated with Michael Vick at quarterback and needed a field goal on the last play of the game to remain undefeated. They went to the Sugar Bowl that year and played Florida State in the national championship game. Cedric Humes, the ball carrier, out to the 43. A gain of 10. They got the penalty yardage back and 5 more.
That's an example of how patient Virginia Tech will be on offense. A 1st and 15, they'll run the ball. I mean, they will run that ball until they are clearly in a 3rd down passing situation because they believe in their offensive line so much.
Yeah, but you saw Beamer rolling his hand around like, we got to pick the tempo up a little bit. We got to get in out of this huddle.
We talked about how Randall had been perfect this season. He has not been perfect tonight. A couple of costly turnovers have led to 2 scores. He's on target with that throw to their best receiver, Ernest Wilford, who has another first down to the West Virginia 49. Lance Frazier had the coverage. It's a gain of 8.
Well, Randall has been so good this year that he's kept Marcus Vick on the sideline. I think everybody thought coming into the season that Marcus Vick, the younger brother of Michael Vick, would probably find his way onto the field. But this guy's been so good, Marcus Vick hasn't been able to get out there. And there you see him. He doesn't have a helmet on. He's like real backup now, extreme backup.
They had a competition in the spring. Marcus Vick, of course, the younger brother of Michael Vick. Flag thrown. Randall spinning and finally down on the carpet for a loss back to the 48. The flag was thrown right in the middle of the offensive line. Grant Wiley made the tackle on Randall, and it's a holding call against the Hokies, a team that came in least penalized in the Big East, penalized 8 times already in less than a quarter and a half.
Holding. Gets the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still first down.
8 penalties for 62 yards against Coach Beamer and the Hokies.
His crowd is just going to go nuts if West Virginia gets a stop here and gets the ball back. I have not been in an environment before, Sean, where public schools were closing down on the day of a game, and you've got university professors canceling classes to allow students to get out and enjoy this thing. It's been unique.
There are major traffic concerns in the city of Morgantown. It's not the easiest place to get in and out of. The stadium is right next to the Norris Hospital. They share parking lots. From the 41-yard line, Randall in the flat, pass interference. Wilford had Lance Frazier on his back. Really an unnecessary play by Frazier. He was in excellent position to just tackle Wilford immediately for a very short gain.
Pass interference. Gets the defense. Spot foul. Automatic
Interesting
first down.
situation where they'll actually bring the chains back.
And because Wilford didn't come back to the ball, it really is why Frazier went through him to get to the football.
Well, it's even worse than that. Frazier did not believe what he saw. Frazier was sitting out there waiting for the play, and when the ball started to come, he hesitated. He couldn't believe that Randall was throwing the ball out there when he was sitting right there. And that hesitation cost him an interception and got him a pass interference penalty.
That's a good matchup. Frazier, a 3-year starter on Wilford, who's an NFL prospect at wide receiver. On 1st and 10 from the 45, Randall going deep, and it is caught by Wilford. Down at the 21-yard line of West Virginia.
This is really an option for Randall as he looks out there. He has his choice of an out and a post corner. You'll see this here and then the inside right there. And he's going to force the safety to make a choice as to where he's going to go. And watch him flow this way. Now, he's got a choice of coming out or going down the middle. He goes to his tall receiver down the middle.
Brian King, number 11, the free safety, bit on the play action. He just sat there too long and didn't maintain his responsibility deep.
34-yard gain. Justin Hamilton in motion. Kevin Jones the lone back. Randall throwing toward Hamilton. Incomplete. Over his head. Lance Frazier running in coverage.
Not a lot of pursuit there by the blue jerseys. Nobody's really rushing. They had 3 that they were trying to rush, and they just dropped 8, and that was way too much time.
Well, I'll tell you what Virginia Tech ought to be thinking about right now is their speed option. I mean, last year around this area of the field, they ran that speed option, and it really paid off for them. They have not shown it much tonight, but when they go to it, and they don't go to it usually out of this set, but when they're in shotgun and they go to it, they have a chance to get something done down here.
2 tight ends on the field now for Virginia Tech. 2nd and 10 Hokies. From the West Virginia 21. Quarterback draw. Randall lost the football. It's free at the 20. Randall has already turned it over twice. Mike Lorello, who recovered the errant pitch earlier, seemed to pull that ball out from Randall. You can see that Brian doesn't have it because he's back on his feet. And no indication yet from the officials. Finally, the line judge said Virginia Tech ball at the 20-yard line.
We've heard an awful lot recently about what goes on in piles on the field.
Ruling on the field. There is no fumble. His progress was stopped.
Ooh, I'd like to see that.
That's one way to avoid that.
Look at the pursuit coming off the corner hard. That's the pursuit that's making plays right now. Mike Lorello coming off around the corner. Wow. What do you think, Coach?
Hey, I think his progress was stopped.
Well, if that's the case, how come the officials didn't signal with their arms over their head right away and just gesture immediately that it was Virginia Tech ball? None of them signaled that during the entire time they were all piled up.
You're dressed like a banker, thinking like a lawyer.
Out of the shotgun on 3rd down. Randall tripped up from behind. He did not know that the rusher was there. Leandre Washington, the senior from Key West, Florida. Former linebacker, now a strong safety. But they move him all over the field. He was up there on the blitz and made the play.
It's the outside pressure. That right now has just thrown a loop to the Virginia Tech offense. Why didn't he move it?
I don't know, but he didn't see the overload coming from the backside. And they love to do that. They brought 4 from the right side.
Carter Worley, the field goal kicker, has made 7 of his last 8. It's a 40-yard try. Robert Peasley, the holder. Worley's had a bit of a bad back lately. He hooked that one. No good. Wide to the left. The frustration continues for the Hokies here in Morgantown. Carter Worley, a miss of a 40-yard field goal try. And not much has gone right for Virginia Tech so far. But a long way to go in this one. More than 6 minutes left in the first half. West Virginia with the ball in a 14-0 lead. The Mountaineers begin at their own 23. Quincy Wilson, a powerful runner. He's out to the 29-yard line.
I tell you, Quincy Wilson runs hard. He delivers the blow, but he's not the only guy. K.J. Harris has been running for arm tackles as well. They've got the whole package going. They've got their own Pony Express going right now, Craig.
And let me tell you what's got it going on is that offensive line at West Virginia, but the backs have definitely sent a message that they're going to run you over if you're in the way.
Here's a deep ball, and it is incomplete. Intended for Chris Henry. Eric Green had the coverage.
And, you know, this is just showing you again right now that West Virginia is not going to sit back. They're running the football, which has really brought up Virginia Tech's defense. Rasheed Marshall, he's going to throw the football.
Yeah, he's taking his shot. They will normally try at least one deep ball a quarter. We've seen one already, but they'll probably come back. They haven't really gone after Green very much. They've gone after Hall.
Well, he might have gotten away with a little bit of a push-off there as he tried to shed Eric Green. Marshall out of the gun on 3rd down and 4. pulls it down and runs and has a first down. Then he got belted. But the forward progress to the 34. Eric Green said hello at the 34-yard line. A gain of 6.
Green can't feel his arm right now.
Yeah.
That's one of them stingers in the neck where he comes out. Hey, again, look at the presence of mind of Marshall. He doesn't get flustered, get the first down.
In their last game against Rutgers, and Green still a little sore. Rasheed Marshall went over 1,000 career yards in rushing. Only Major Harris in the 1,000-yard rushing club among West Virginia quarterbacks all time.
Hank, we've all been there, Craig. You come up and hit somebody, or you're running the ball, you get hit, and immediately you feel that pain shoot down your arm, and you kind of go numb momentarily.
Yeah, so right now that property management major, he needs to properly manage that shoulder blade area. He needs to go get a couple of aspirin. Hey, Doc, I'm hurting.
They are a little bit more thin than usual in the secondary, too. Green starting tonight because Darnell Wilds is out with a knee injury. Right up the middle, Wilson, the ball carrier. It appeared the ball came out, but he was whistled down by contact at the 38. A gain of 4 for Wilson. How did you do, Craig? I think you played against his dad in a Super Bowl, did you not?
Yeah, I did. And about the only thing, all I remember is them running past me, sacking the quarterback.
No let's pick up?
No.
Dad, Otis Wilson, the former Chicago Bear, played against Kirk's Patriots in the Super Bowl in '86, correct? Brandon Manning made the tackle on Quincy Wilson, but that's 13 more.
Let me put it to you this way. I remember his dad one time tackled me. I tried to twist his shoe off his foot. I wanted to hurt him.
Well, there's no twisting on this thing. You come up to face Wilson. Wilson is going to finish the run. He's going to deliver a blow. He's delivered 77 yards already tonight.
On just 14 carries, he's also scored a touchdown. His dad, Otis, still lives in Chicago. But Otis grew up here in the state of West Virginia. We talked about they don't have many prospects, but Quincy's from Weirton, West Virginia, led Weir High School to a state championship. He looked around a little bit, but he was intrigued by playing here for his home state university. He was in a pretty good class coming out of high school for running backs. William Green, T.J. Duckett, Julius Jones, among the other top running back recruits. Rasheed Marshall shoved out of bounds, a loss on the play, back to the 48-yard line. Held the key, the middle linebacker, junior from Columbia, Maryland, chased out Rasheed.
But going back to Wilson, did you take a look at what he did his senior year in high school? More than 3,000 yards rushing, 47 touchdowns as a high school senior. He told me it really wasn't fair. I was about 205 pounds, and I just ran over everybody. He's still running over people.
It's still not fair.
Third down and 8. West Virginia with under 4 minutes left in the half, leading Virginia Tech 14-0. This is a Hokie team averaging 45 points per game. Marshall has a man open, caught, first down. Travis Garvin out of bounds at the 36-yard line. First catch of the night for the senior who missed their last game against Rutgers.
And look at the timing of this. Marshall steps, plants, the ball's on its way as soon as the receiver made his cut.
And that is something they hadn't seen this season. Their passing attack was not good. Coming into the ball game, leading receiver, 11 grabs.
Garvin playing with a very heavy high. He had to leave the team before that Rutgers game. There's Wilson again. His cousin, who really was like a brother to him, they had lived together and been close their entire lives, was shot and killed in their hometown of Bradenton, Florida. So Travis left the team and did not play in the game against Rutgers.
There you are, left guard, nothing special, sexy about this play. 76 has done this all night, Jeff Burke. Look at the push he has, and what it does is it just moves the chains. It sets the tempo. Little plays like that, sending a message to that defense.
I tell you, the message they're saying is that we're pounding the heck out of you.
They caught Virginia Tech not quite lined up. Marshall keeps on a quarterback sweep, then goes down to the 30. They'll need 4 more on third down. And the time becoming a factor now. Remember, each team has already burned 2 timeouts, so they can stop it once each. And we're under 3 minutes left in the half.
Physical, physical. I go back to the Miami game. West Virginia believed that they were more physical than Miami in that ball game, and it has carried over into this one.
It very well be 4 down territory for West Virginia. They don't need to go for it on 4th down. They'd like to pick it up right here. After the pick, Marshall in trouble and throws in the direction of Wilson. Coles had him around the knees. He did get it off. It's an incomplete pass. It'll be 4th down and 4 from the 30. And we'll see what Coach Rodriguez wants to do. Will he try a long field goal? Yes, he will.
Kick it. Kick it. You know why? If you make this field goal, you get up by 3 scores here.
Well,
you get up by
I'm going to give you a different opinion of this thing.
Oh, what?
You've got Virginia Tech in the tank right now, and their strength of it. That's right, man. And we know they block more than anybody in America.
It's not a gimme on 4th down. You got 3-4 yards to go here.
So what? Just turn the ball over and play defense.
Get the 3rd score. Make them have to score 3 times to beat you.
You're going to be right, but I'm just telling you, I'm nervous about it.
High snap. Cooper's kick is not long enough, and off to the right. But there's a flag down thrown at the feet of the kicker. Did they run into the kicker or rough him?
It doesn't matter. If they ran into him, that ought to be enough to get a 1st down.
It is running into the kicker. Frank Beamer, who coaches the special teams himself.
Running into the kicker. Against the defense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Accustomed to seeing those special teams make inspiring plays to ignite his team. Now they make a play that, oh boy, that keeps the West Virginia possession alive. That was more like sliding into the kicker and really barely brushing him with a forearm on the leg, if that is a penalty that we're putting in the rule book. Wow. 9th penalty against the Hokies. So it's 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. 2 tight ends. That's the most penalties that Virginia Tech has had in a game this year. Wilson fumbled the football. Picked up by Vegas Robinson. He got rid of the football. And now it's Vincent Fuller all the way into the end zone for a touchdown.
Wow. That's what 60,000 people just said.
Wow.
and I mean, Wilson is headed to a big game. He's got a big hole. I mean, it just like that.
He's had fumbling problems. He fumbled 3 times in their loss to Cincinnati. And that was a very costly fumble. You talk about turning the momentum of the game around. Fans roaring. They saw a replay on the screen. It looked like Vegas Robinson was down before he got rid of the ball to Vincent Fuller. And the ball should have marked down near midfield. We'll look at that when we come back. The extra point up and good by Worley. And all of a sudden, it is a 1-touchdown game. Certainly he was down. He's down. He lost the football on a fumble. But he was down. That play should have been blown dead. Rich Rodriguez furious with the officials because everybody in the stadium saw the replay you saw as we went to break. That Vegas Robinson was down before he fumbled. And the ball was picked up by Vincent Fuller. It should have been Virginia Tech's ball near midfield. We'll take a look at it again after the kickoff by Brandon Pace to K.J. Harris and Adam Jones. Comes down to Pac-Man Jones near the 10. And a nice run back to the 29.
All right, this is simply a blown call. Wilson wide open, loses the ball. There's Vegas with it. Now watch when he goes down.
He is. You're going to keep rolling, boys. There you go.
He's down. He's down right there.
He was down, but I tell you what, even before that, if he hadn't fumbled the ball, he may have scored.
Now Wilson.
Watch it from this angle. You'll see he's down right there, no doubt. Ball's coming out. He's down. Now watch it. The next angle, the official right there looking at it, didn't think he was down.
There's the head referee, Jack Kramer, who was just a few yards away from Vegas Robinson. From the 29, 1st and 10. Wilson out to the 34-yard line, a gain of 5. Under 2 minutes left in the half. Here's Reese.
All right, Sean, coming up at halftime, we'll look at the potential impact of this game on the BCS standing, the schedules of the other two major unbeatens, and a look ahead to Maryland and Georgia Tech.
Yeah, we'll look at Oklahoma, 7-0, but have they played anybody yet either?
I'll tell you about a big game in the SEC, Auburn versus LSU.
Cadillac emerging as a Heisman Trophy candidate. We'll have that one Saturday night on ESPN, guys.
And we look forward to it. Vegas Robinson made the stop on Quincy Wilson. Just one timeout left for each team as we run to a minute 20 left in the half.
Let's go back to this play one more time. Now, look for the official on this thing. He's right on top of it. So he clearly doesn't believe that this ball, look at him. He's right there looking at it.
Well, he missed it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
I mean, it was close. The ball came out shortly after the knee went down, but it clearly was a case of he was down first when the ball popped out.
I'm a big proponent of instant replay. When you got it, use it.
Well, they could have used it tonight. Rasheed Marshall did not get to the first down marker on 3rd and 3. Will Virginia Tech use a timeout? Yes.
Timeout.
With 47 seconds left.
That's a final timeout.
The backup defensive tackle made the stop on Marshall, and it was a big one. West Virginia will have to punt when we come back. West Virginia will punt. Virginia Tech to get the ball back with under a minute left here in the first half. Bear in mind that the Hokies have blocked 100 kicks, punts or kicks, under Frank Beamer in his 17 years as coach at his alma mater. They blocked a field goal last week for the 100th block kick. 52 of them have been punts. Todd James got it off. D'Angelo Hall, crowd roaring. They wanted a clip that seemed to occur right along the hash mark. There was no flag thrown, and Hall will return 2 punts for touchdowns against Syracuse in their last game. Returns that one for 5.
We were in the meetings together. He was not supposed to punt the ball to D'Angelo Hall today, was he? They worked on it all week. Kicked the ball out of bounds at a different angle.
I think that was clearly a mistake.
Well, they got away with it. And how will Virginia Tech play without a timeout at their own 36-yard line and 35 seconds left in the half? Looks like they intend to throw it with 4 wide receivers and Randall working out of the shotgun.
They're lucky to be down only by 7. I'd just go in at halftime and be happy.
Randall, couple of fakes, then throws short. And out of bounds goes Cedric Humes. No gain on the play, perhaps even a loss of a yard. And the clock shows 30 seconds left. That was a very careful play.
Well, if you're going to keep being careful, I mean, just go on in at halftime. Either throw it down the field or just go on in.
I agree with you, Rod. They are fortunate to be 14-7. Don't even take a chance on letting West Virginia do something.
And they've been outplayed by West Virginia for most of the half. As much as it was a bad call and a touchdown, Tech scored. Of course, it never would have happened had Wilson not fumbled. That pass run up for grabs and almost intercepted. They had a 14-0 lead with a chance to punch it in again when Wilson fumbled. That was the West Virginia turnover. But first, there was a couple of turnovers that led directly to 2 West Virginia touchdowns. And then the fumble by Wilson. The run back by Robinson. He was tackled. Lost control of the football, and Vincent Fuller picked it up and ran it the rest of the way.
And these turnovers are a result of West Virginia being faster than what Virginia Tech has seen.
All the points in this game off turnovers, 68 yards. The distance covered by Robinson and Fuller on the fumble return. Randall zings one, incomplete, flag thrown against Mike Lorello. West Virginia sideline in an uproar. Lorello came over the back of Justin Hamilton. I don't know about that one either.
That's a bad call. You know, you have a right to make a play on the ball.
Yeah, I don't think these officials have had a great half.
He's got a right to attempt to knock the ball away, and the receiver.
Defense, 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
And on top of it, I don't believe the receiver was even in a position to make the play.
Maybe
they got him for the trip.
That or Hamilton's a good actor.
But that's inadvertent with feet down below.
Yeah, they got him for the trip. But you do have the right to go make a play on the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. But that word inadvertent, which I never have understood, but when your feet get tangled up, you didn't really mean to do it like, oops, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
28 seconds left in the half. Sacked by Ernest Hunter, the sophomore from Burke, Virginia, in the Washington, D.C. area. Third sack of the night for West Virginia. It'll be the final play of the first half.
Yeah, this is the chance you take when you're trying to throw the ball late, second quarter. And that kind of hit right there, it got the momentum back to your guys going to the locker room.
Rich Rodriguez chatting with the referee, Jack Kramer, in the middle of the field as the teams run off.
I wonder about what?
Well, Frank Beamer probably isn't all that happy either. I mean, his team was penalized 9 times in the half. 14-7 at halftime. Here's Sam Ryan.
All right, Frank Beamer, you got a little momentum going into the half. You may have caught a break there. It appeared Vegas was down. What did you see?
I couldn't tell. I thought it was a good play, but you know, it's lucky for us there, but they just outplayed us.
They've got 131 yards on the ground right now. How do you stop the run? What kind of adjustments?
They're coming right at us. You know, they spread you out and come right at you and at us, and we got to toughen up. But I think it really gets back to our offense. You know, you turn the ball over and you don't pick up first downs. You're leaving your defense out there too long.
Thanks, Frank.
Halftime.
Okay.
14-7, West Virginia over number 3 Virginia Tech. Here's Reese.
All right, Sean, and a couple of momentum swings late in the half there, and perhaps the eyes of the nation will be glued to the second half. Potential shakeups in the BCS if this stands up. If you're Frank Beamer, what do you tell your team at halftime right now?
Well, first of all, going to halftime, Mark, and I tell my team, guys, we've had 2 turnovers. We've missed a field goal. We've played as bad as we can possibly play, but here's the key. A team that's going to play maybe in a national championship, maybe get to the Nokia Sugar Bowl, Mark, they're not going to panic. They're going to come out, be stubborn, and run the football and be Virginia Tech.
Which team's ranked number 3 in the nation? It looks like it's West Virginia at this point. No,
yes, it does.
But the way that this team's played in the first half, they've executed on offense, running the football. What surprises me about Virginia Tech at this point, no big plays in special teams. Yeah. That's outstanding by a West Virginia team that doesn't have a lot of big plays this season, but they've held Virginia Tech.
I may disagree with you. There was a big play in special teams when they ran into the kicker and got the ball back on the turnover after that. It wasn't planned that way, but it worked out okay. We continue on the halftime report. The Cadillac goes rolling into the Bayou on Saturday night. We'll see what LSU might do with that running game involved. We've got a second half coming that could have major BCS implications, potential Nokia Sugar Bowl implications. What do you see in the second half from West Virginia, Virginia Tech?
Well, for Rich Rodriguez, the head coach of West Virginia, he's got to continue to stay with his game plan. Pound the football. But one word of advice, clock management. Don't snap the ball when there's 20 seconds left on the clock. Snap it with 3. It shortens up the game.
Forget about West Virginia. This is about Virginia Tech. This is about a defense that has to get off some blocks. I mean, time and time again, I see these guys just bound up with these offensive big fat guys like May. Grab them. Get off some blocks. Get some penetration in the backfield and make some tackles. Poor tackling. Not getting in a backfield, terrible penetration, disappointed with Virginia Tech's defense.
They told me at Nebraska your nickname was Polaroid because you used to wear sunglasses. You were knocked back all the time.
Glass half full or half empty there?
Half full.
We've got a second half coming from Morgantown. Only
Polaroids
3 major college unbeaten teams left. Will there be 2 at the end of the night? West Virginia almost did it to Miami. Will they do it to the Hokies? Stick around. Second half coming.
Turnovers, the story of the first half here in Morgantown. At halftime, West Virginia leads Virginia Tech 14-7. As we look at the game track, all of the points in this game as a result of turnovers.
Well, it's a result of turnovers, and I think a lot of that was the poor decision-making. Brian Randall was late on that particular throw there. Kevin Jones wasn't ready for the pitch there, and it just seemed like Virginia Tech wasn't ready, and certainly West Virginia was.
Yeah, they ran the ball very well. And then, really, the end of the first half, a key play. This is a 14-point swing. West Virginia going in for the score. There's a fumble by Wilson. Vegas Robinson gets it, and then Vincent Fuller takes it all the way back, and it was a really bad call. It was just really terrible. And I think that thing really has an impact on Vodtech, and Vodtech could really get back in this ball game now.
We're getting ready to find out whether or not they're really the #3 team in the country. Virginia Tech, if they are that good, they'll make an adjustment because they were given a gift on that touchdown.
But one of the adjustments is going to have to be, I think, cheating inside the box to stop the running inside, because they're getting spread out, and they're not able to handle that right now.
Officially a 50-yard touchdown for Vincent Fuller on the fumble return, returning his own teammate's fumble on the Virginia Tech score after West Virginia jumped out to the 14-0 lead on touchdown runs by K.J. Harris and Quincy Wilson. Brandon Pace kicks off for Virginia Tech. He's a freshman from Virginia Beach. K.J. Harris and Adam Jones back for the kick. Here's Jones. He turned 181 in the season opener against Wisconsin. And their season opening loss by a touchdown here in Morgantown. That's a 37-yard return, tackled by Chris Caesar. We check the first half stats.
Yeah, right down here. Those penalties, 9 for 67 yards against Virginia Tech, shows that they're not playing smart and that West Virginia is creating some opportunities and getting them out of position.
Yeah, and how about the 131 yards rushing for West Virginia against a defense that was only giving up 88 a game? And they just took it to him in the first half.
43 yards rushing for Virginia Tech, but some of that was the sack yardage. That came off the rushing total. They had 3 sacks for the Mountaineers. Nice fake, but then a bad throw for the tight end, Torrey Johnson. Rasheed Marshall off the mark. Here's Sam Ryan.
And Sean, I spoke to Rich Rodriguez at the half. He told me our defense is playing hard on offense. We got great field position. We just have to learn to finish now. He said we should be up 14-0. We feel like we gave them a cheap one at the end. Sometimes you get those calls. Sometimes you don't. You just have to play through them, guys.
Thank you, Sam. And I think that's a key for his team at halftime, guys. Don't dwell on what you might think is a bad call. Just keep playing.
Play the next play.
Nothing doing on 2nd and 10. Quincy Wilson into the middle for no gain. Jonathan Lewis made the tackle with help from Brandon Manning.
And Virginia Tech's defense has to make the statement here in this opening drive. And, you know, some people here are probably saying, why did he throw the ball on first down? It was a good call. He just overthrew the receiver.
3rd and 9. Hokie showing blitz. And then they move out of it as Michael Crawford resets. Just a 4-man rush. Wide receiver screen. Chris Henry does not get the first down. Hokie's indicating the ball came out. It looked like it might have. They want the call. The officials have not signaled yet. And they say West Virginia ball. 4th down.
Well, this could be D'Angelo Hall time now on punt returns. Remember, special teams, we always think about blocks for Virginia Tech, but they can get big returns out of that guy.
It better not be a return by him. I mean, if they do, they ought to fire the special teams coach and go get a new punter. I mean, he has been coached well this week to kick the ball away from D'Angelo Hall.
He kicked one to him in the first half, though.
And he got lucky. They got away with it.
Todd James, who frequently rolls to his right rugby style before punting, stayed in his usual position and got it off, and no return for D'Angelo Hall. The ball down at the 25, a 32-yard punt. Scott Jerko downed it. They look back at some key plays, and the Mountaineers folks in the press box here at halftime were whining about the officiating, and you're looking at the reasons why.
Well, I think what you want is consistency. On those first 2 plays that you saw, there was a quick whistle, lack of progress, they didn't get the fumble, and then on the fumble, there was not a quick whistle. You want them to be consistent on those, Craig.
Yep. We should point out the Hokie folks weren't all that happy either, which means perhaps they've done a good job. At least they've been equal opportunity upsetters of this officiating crew. Kevin Jones, the ball carrier, out to the 30. For a gain of 6.
And for Virginia Tech, they came into the game saying they were going to go 2 tides, pound them, and knock them off the ball, okay? They've got to come back now, and it's the gift is there. If they're in the ball game, they got to do it.
Second and 4. Randall under center. Randall out 11 passing. Completes that one in the flat to the fullback, Doug Eastlick. And he's very close to the first down marker. Eastlick, one of those unheralded guys who does a lot and doesn't get much credit for it. When we talked to Brian Steinspring, the offensive coordinator, he said he's our most underrated player. Great blocker, particularly out on the perimeter. Former state champion wrestler in high school in Marlton, New Jersey. Third down and less than a yard. Eastlick wrestled for a while at Virginia Tech as well, but then decided to concentrate full-time on football. Two tight ends in the game. Deep handoff. I wonder about that play call to Jones. Took a long time to get him the ball deep in the backfield, and Adam Lenort and Ben Lynch were right there to drop him for a loss.
Lynch has been doing this all night. This defensive line is smoke in the middle of the field. Watch the penetration. Watch the push. Swim. Get rid of it. Linebacker comes through. They're dominating up front.
He shouldn't be able to do that. He's only 265 pounds. He's playing against a guy he should be dominating him. Grove's a 300-pounder. He's an All-American candidate.
Vinnie Burns to punt to Pac-Man Jones. They came after the punt, and Burns got it off very nicely. It is muffed by Pac-Man, and he dives on the ball back inside the 5-yard line. A 63-yard punt when all was said and done because of the muff. They'll mark the ball at the 6. Tough field position with which to begin for West Virginia. The Mountaineers lead 14-7 early in the third quarter. Sean McDonough with Craig James, Rod Gilmore, Sam Ryan, our producer Scott Matthews, director John McDonough leading our ESPN Wednesday night crew. First and 10, West Virginia. The Mountaineers from their own 6-yard line. Second possession of the second half for WVU. Quincy Wilson. Tackled by Kevin Lewis and Vegas Robinson. Vegas Robinson involved in that fumble play and involved in this play as well.
Hey, Craig, you see all of the guys in the box here. They've got 9 guys in the box here cheating to get inside now. They had a 2 tight end formation, but you see now that's their tackle. They're going to try and cheat in, and then they'll come out if they have to in the pass.
Second and 9. Marshall going deep. Has a man open. Travis Garvin at the 30. He will score. 93 yards. Touchdown, West Virginia.
That's the answer to cheating in.
I was going to tell you.
Touchdown pass in West Virginia University history, 93 yards. Cooper. Drives through the extra point. So Virginia Tech had momentum at the end of the half. It didn't last very long. An electrifying play made by Marshall and Garvin. Garvin, you remember, the player who sat out there last game after his cousin was shot and killed. And he's been uplifted by the great support as we see from his teammates, and what a play he just made for them.
You know what? And you said it right, Rod. I mean, you set it up, and there's the defense. They're 9 men up there, and they're offering it up to that offense. They dared Marshall to do it, and he did it.
Boy, did he. They worked on Michael Crawford that time. He's the rover. And they got Garvin on him. That's a mismatch.
Crawford, an outstanding player and a veteran player, a senior in that secondary for Virginia Tech.
You can see the secondary. Watch the way they are. Look at how. I mean, they come up supporting the play action.
Yep.
They have to. They have to respect it. And He got him.
They were getting gashed in the first half. You know, at halftime they talked about getting in the box, getting a little help, cheating in a little bit, and then when they got them spread out there, they worked on the rover, got a mismatch that they wanted. Take your shot down the field.
Rasheed Marshall, who has struggled throwing the football. And Rich Rodriguez says not just the quarterback. Said we have a young and inexperienced line. We have had some injury problems for the rest of our offense. We have a young receiver core as well. They've had some depletions there, so you can't put it all on Marshall. Short kickoff and a tumbling catch made by Cedric Humes. He had to come running up after Cooper's kick into a little bit of a breeze, came down at the 21-yard line.
Well to that offense at Virginia Tech.
Here's an offense that has scored at least 35 points in every game this year, Virginia Tech. But prior to tonight, they played Central Florida, James Madison, Texas A&M, Connecticut, Rutgers, and Syracuse, and only Rutgers was on the road.
And Texas A&M is about the only team that was really strong, and they're a young football team.
From the 21. Play action pass. Randall pulls it down and runs. And slides down to the 23. Forced to the ground by Grant Wiley, the All-American candidate at linebacker, a 4-year starter. He had 15 tackles last year at Virginia Tech. There is a flag on the play. Wiley has forced 6 fumbles this year. That leads the nation. It's against Virginia Tech. He's averaged 14 tackles per game. That's 3rd in the nation.
And the flag was on.
Dead ball, personal foul, gets the offense. Half the distance to the goal line. 2nd down.
That's a personal foul on Wilford. Watch 19 here at the end of the play. He keeps going after the guy, hands to the head. And the very first play of the game, they threw a penalty flag on Pac-Man Jones for a shot after the play, and they're enforcing it again here. They're trying to control it like you said, Fred.
10 penalties against Virginia Tech.
Second down and 19. Doug Eastlick, the fullback, just trying to get something back. Because the personal foul was after the play, the down counted, so this will be 3rd down upcoming for the Hokies.
Ben Lynch is absolutely dominating inside. I mean, and I wasn't expecting that on the defensive line at West Virginia.
Right.
That's Jeff Castile, the defensive coordinator at West Virginia. What a terrific job his group has done tonight. The only points by Virginia Tech were scored by the Virginia Tech defense. 3rd and long. They need to reach the 31-yard line. The ball snapped from the 13. Timeout called.
They couldn't hear.
Virginia Tech.
The Hokies have 2 left.
They couldn't hear.
They're not in Blacksburg anymore.
ESPN's College Football Wednesday. Brought to you by the next Ford F-150. Built Ford tough. And 1-800-COLLECT. Save a buck or two.
As usual, very enthusiastic throng here at Mountaineer Field. There's one of the loudest venues in college football, and they are roaring tonight. 3rd down and 18. The Mountaineers lead by 14 points. Virginia Tech in a 3rd and long. D'Angelo Hall has not touched the ball on offense tonight for Virginia Tech. He's on the field. That ball is intercepted. Pac-Man Jones picked it off. The receiver had stopped. Jones brings it back to the 38-yard line. Kevin Jones made the tackle. Flags down after the tackle. There are 2 flags on the play.
And the last flag is going to be on Pac-Man Jones for spinning the ball.
That was dumb. Come on.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. But, you know, he's got that kind of attitude. I mean.
And a clip on the return. Both flags against West Virginia.
That's the good and bad of Pac-Man. I mean, he brings that attitude to them, and he'll deliver big plays and brings that toughness to them. But, you know, you got to take a little bit of that little extra sugar at the end of plays with him, too.
Going to have to learn to bottle up that enthusiasm.
We have 2 penalties on the return team. We have a clip on the run back, 15-yard penalty. I have an unsportsmanlike penalty. At the end of the run, both penalties will be assessed. First down.
That'll be 30 yards in penalties against West Virginia.
Bad decision here. This was a 3-deep coverage. It was that from the start, Craig. You and I talked about it even before. He lines up, but bails out of it. He's had deep third responsibility. Wilford breaks off the route. That was a gimme.
Yeah, Wilford should not have broken that route off, and he tried to side adjust on the deal. There's no adjustment to it, and Pac-Man Jones comes up with a play. Now, if they would have been better off for him not to have caught that and forced a punt.
Well, he could have caught it. It was the stuff at the end. Yeah,
all the penalties. Yeah, but I'm talking about
37-yard.
Look at that. I mean, they would have punted from the 15-yard line.
Yeah, but if they hadn't committed the
penalty,
the clip, and then
37 after the run back.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Sean. Not with Craig.
All I know is they are way back on this side now after they started to look down on that.
Because of the interception.
Yeah. Take that. At the end of the day, they're snapping the ball from the 32.
K.J. Harris got back to the left and got 2 out to the 34-yard line. Well, Pac-Man is excitable. We saw that in the game against Miami back on October 2nd, a Thursday night game. He got locked up with Kellen Winslow Jr. or the second all night long, and they spent a lot of time trash talking, and those two can jaw with the best of them.
Pac-Man Jones is not going to shy away from trash talking. He brings it with the best of them.
2nd and 8. Quincy Wilson back in there, rips through a hole, bounces off a hip, first down. To the 45-yard line of Virginia Tech, a 21-yard gain. Mikel Bakir made the tackle.
If Kevin Jones at Virginia Tech is a Heisman candidate, then what do you call this guy, huh? I mean, now that's running, that's effort, that's a I'm not going down attitude.
I'll say this: I've not seen anybody run harder than Quincy Wilson. And no one does.
He's over 100 yards with 105 tonight, his 7th career 100-yard game. With 177 in their win a week and a half ago against Rutgers.
Charge timeout. Virginia Tech.
Timeout called by Virginia Tech. They're going to come from behind mode. The Hokies have just 1 timeout left. We were talking about Adam Pac-Man Jones. They call him Pac-Man. His mother gave him.
There was no charge timeout.
Toddler.
There was no charge timeout.
Attack the bottle and gobble it up like Pac-Man. You used to play that game, Craig, right?
I did it so often that I got tendonitis in my shoulder from, working the machine.
Was that Pac-Man? Miss Pac-Man.
Now they say there was no timeout called.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
They blew the whistle, pointed timeout, said timeout, but now they say there was no timeout.
Miss Pac-Man was harder than Pac-Man.
They went after the ball, gobbled it up like that Pac-Man thing used to gobble them up. And then the fruit.
Hey, I'll tell you a little bit what ran Pac-Man Jones away from the chow table yesterday.
Wilson, the ball carried to the 41 on 1st and 10. He got 4. There's a look back at that one-on-one battle between Pac-Man and Kellen Winslow. They were after each other all night long.
He flipped the ball on Pac-Man. Pac-Man flipped it back and punched it back. They both were assessed fouls, but he's from the heart of Atlanta, a hard part of town. He's not backing away from anybody. He's been there.
High school teammate of Keith Adams, who went on to Clemson. They both had their jersey numbers retired. Pass in the flat intended for K.J. Harris. Incomplete.
Now, yesterday we had a chance to have lunch with a lot of the West Virginia players, and I had the privilege of sitting across from Pac-Man Jones. What do you think made him get up and leave the table? He ran from the table and left his food.
You.
No. a big old roach ran across the table in front of his food. And when the roach came out, Grant Wiley, the stud linebacker, squishes it quietly. And he says, okay, we'll have no more of that.
Oh, yeah, tell us about that.
I know. We saved it. We didn't want to ruin everybody's lunch.
Oh, that's bad, man.
It was a great hit by Wiley, too. I mean, wham.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Well, that's 8 penalties on West Virginia, and Virginia Tech has been penalized 10 times. Well, we have a moment we want to send along hello to John Sophie, the director of officiating for the Big East, who was expected to be here tonight and apparently not feeling well. Our pal Shelley Poe, the sports information director here at West Virginia, let us know that John's not here, and we send our best. He might not be feeling any better after watching this tonight.
No.
No, we wish him well. He does a great job supervising the officials in the Big East. Out of the gun. Rasheed Marshall throws the near side, incomplete, intended for Travis Garvin, broken up by Vincent Fuller. Of course, one of the issues that has been raised when you have teams leaving this conference, as you do in the case of Miami, Virginia Tech, and Boston College, some coaches have quietly said, will we get the short end of the stick with the officials because we're leaving? And I think that's a slippery slope to go down, and certainly it raises issues about the credibility of these officials, and that is totally inappropriate. Unfortunately, that was squashed very quickly by the conference.
The calls have been equally bad here tonight, yes. So I don't think that's much of an issue tonight.
The home team that's staying in this conference has been penalized 9 times. Nice punt. Midway through the third quarter, number 3, Virginia Tech. Third in the major polls and third in the most important poll, the BCS poll. In trouble here in West Virginia. Trailing by 2 touchdowns. And beginning at its own 8-yard line. Randall had trouble with the snap. Well, Coach Beamer talked about how well he's played all year, but he's been shaky tonight. 2 interceptions and an errant pitch to Jones, and he almost lost the snap there. He managed to turn it into a gain of 3.
Rod, I know in your film study, you really were looking forward to seeing them run this speed option out of the shotgun, and it seems like they've gotten away from it.
I think they're afraid of it. They had that fumble with Kevin Jones on the pitch earlier. They haven't gone back to it since then. And, you know, you made the point about their defense. They're shutting things down outside.
Yeah, they got the outside support that's coming hard, and those extra wings out there really putting pressure on them.
Nice run by Jones. He got through some traffic. And there's a late flag thrown after Jones had been tackled. Adam Lenort made the tackle. And it's against Virginia Tech. Might have been another hit after the whistle. Yeah.
You know, before tonight, I don't think Virginia Tech had more than 8 penalties in any game.
You're correct.
That was Grove.
Didn't he have another one earlier?
Well, Grove has a reputation for being a dirty player.
Personal foul. Gets the offense. After distance to the goal line. Third down.
His teammates say that affectionately about him, but others in the Big East say that he will take a shot at you after the whistle. He says he plays to the whistle. That one was clearly after the whistle.
Sean, isn't he a farmer, rancher, cowman?
Grew up on a farm. Jake's from Forest, Virginia. Grandparents had a 200-acre farm. Ball back at the 9-yard line. And the down counts, so it's third down and about 10. Randall throws it for Jeff King, and he does not get to the first down marker. He got belted down by Scott Jerko. And the Hokies will have to punt.
The thing about defense, that when it's working, you're getting blue jerseys to the football, more than one.
And there are about 3 of them showing up on that play. And part of that is that 3-3-5 defense. We talked about it tonight. The speed on the outside. These guys can run to the edge and make plays.
Then he burns to punt. Pac-Man Jones not back deep. He muffed the last punt, so they have Lance Frazier back now. This one's returnable. He catches it with plenty of running room straight ahead. And runs it all the way back to the 36-yard line. Perhaps even the 35 of Virginia Tech. where Blake Warren made the tackle, the 47-yard punt. But the Hokies were slow to cover. It wasn't a particularly high kick. And Frazier brought it back for 22.
Look at him just run past people. You know, sometimes you see these punt returners who'll dance a little bit, but when they dart beyond the tackler, they usually have success.
The surprising thing is that generally West Virginia's special teams have played better than Virginia Tech
in this
tonight.
game. Yeah, in this game. That is surprising.
K.J. Harris, the tailback. He gets the call on 1st and 10. Trying to turn the corner after the bounce outside, and that speedy Hokie defense wouldn't let him. And there's a flag for late hit out of bounds. Well, ordinarily, this is a very disciplined Virginia Tech team under Frank Beamer, but they have played very uncharacteristic football tonight. Darryl Tapp, a part of that group, along with D'Angelo Hall, running K.J. Harris out of bounds and then throwing him down after they were well across the sideline.
And that one was really dumb because they're right in front of the West Virginia bench. His progress was clearly stopped.
Personal foul. Gets the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
And this one is so late, it's not even close. Hall makes the play. They've got him stopped. Now he's out of bounds. And they keep driving him.
Tapp just wouldn't quit. When they got to that white chalk over there, you just got to let up. And like you said, on that bench, and a bench that feels like they have had some plays go against them, they're going to get a favorable call.
Oh, yeah.
They're a questionable one.
They're yelling at the official, you know, you owe me.
Tapp's been an emerging player, sophomore from Chesapeake, Virginia. That Foster told us the other day how he has really stepped up and could be their next great defensive end. They've had some terrific ones. Engelberger and Moore and Brown among them. K.J. Harris, tackled by Vegas Robinson. We started to mention a moment ago, Vegas Robinson, that unique first name. Said, how'd you get the name? And that is not a nickname. That's his given first name. His mom liked the show Vegas. Remember that, Dan?
No, Dan Tana. Okay, all right.
Robert Urich, the late
dating
Robert
ourselves
Urich.
a little bit.
And his middle name is Ferragamo because his mom liked Vince Ferragamo, the quarterback.
Wow.
Vegas Ferragamo Robinson.
Who knew?
And the question is, do the Bears really need to know? That's for them to decide. Marshall banged out of bounds. Back at the 18-yard line by Brandon Manning. And that'll bring up 3rd down. They need to reach the 8 for a first down.
Man, this has seemed like a long quarter.
Longer if you're Rich Rodriguez. He'd like to see that clock go zipping along right now.
Well, I think he'd be well served at this point to play for the field goal here. Go ahead and play for it. Run the ball back inside. Play for it.
You're baiting me. You're baiting.
Filling the role of Mike Golick tonight is Craig James. Here's K.J. Harris. So much for the field goal. He's down at the 2. But there are flags down. They were thrown right along the line of scrimmage. Mikel Bakee, the middle linebacker, made the tackle against Virginia Tech. It'll be 1st and goal for West Virginia.
Penalties decline. First down.
How many penalties now? 12?
Well, that one would have been the 13th. Wow. Had they accepted it.
And, you know, the thing about it, this backfield tonight, is we said Quincy Wilson, but it's K.J. Harris also. It's the 1-2 punch, and they're both power. They're both speed. They're both bouncers.
And remember what Harris said yesterday. He didn't believe that Virginia Tech, when they tackled, that they put a body on you. He thought they were arm tacklers. He said he was going to run extra hard because he could break arm tackles.
2 tight ends in the game. Wilson, the tailback. Stacked up at the line, driving back to the 2. Nathaniel Adibi and Mikel Bakee combined on the stop on Wilson.
Boy, he's got some serious leg drive. He just doesn't quit. He runs hard.
He's got 3 guys on his back, and he carried them back to the middle of the field. Yeah. Looked like a wheelbarrow.
He just rushed for 108. As a team, West Virginia has rushed for 176. They ran for 170 against Miami. They've run the ball effectively against some terrific defenses. Wilson Not this time. Pulled down by Vegas Ferguson. Vegas Ferguson. I knew I was going to call him that before the night was over.
Just call him Ferragamo.
Did you play with Vegas Ferguson?
Yeah, I played against him.
I knew that would happen once tonight.
Just call him Ferragamo. You won't have a problem with it.
I got his first name right. I don't know how he got the last name.
Number 6 made a nice tackle.
Just call him Vegas.
That's putting the body on somebody. That was no arm tackle.
Man, exactly. Hey, Virginia Tech needs to step it up here. This is the number 3 team in the country. Their defense has to step up and stop them here.
And West Virginia took a long time to get this play and personnel in. Clock running down to 3. Marshall, touchdown! That play is worth waiting for. There is a flag down. Looked to be another hit after the play was over.
Good ball. What's the ball? Gets the defense. Touchdown kick.
Frank Beamer's team is totally unglued right now.
And Sean, it started on the very first play when the crowd became a problem. A fumbled snap to start the game, a delay of game penalty, and it's been that way all night long for their offense and their defense.
I tell you what, I'm glad I put the snooze button on my door at my room. I don't even go in there and get my couch out of my bed, light it on fire. They're looking for kindling right now here.
And the extra point up and good from Brad Cooper.
They've run the ball so well inside. They bite on it. Virginia Tech does. Easy opening outside for Marshall.
And Hall hits him in the end zone. I mean, that's knucklehead. This defense, like you said, it is unglued right now. This team's unglued, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that West Virginia just outplayed them.
They've been more physical. And that man's team has been totally undisciplined.
You know, he was worried, guys, as they won their first 5 games of the year. You look at the scoring drive. Marshall with his first touchdown rushing of the season. He was worried after the first 5 games because they were playing inconsistent football. But he felt like they really put a complete game together against Syracuse. They beat a good Syracuse team 51-7. Did the Hokies in Blacksburg in their last game. But talk about coming right back with a stinker tonight. This has been dreadful for Virginia Tech virtually from the start. And there are a lot of one-loss teams around the nation watching this with great interest and glee at the moment. The Virginia Tech loss would brighten the hopes for an appearance in the national championship game for somebody else. And you also wonder, are they looking ahead to Miami a week from Saturday? When we talked with Frank Beam and the players, they all said no. We know West Virginia's dangerous. They beat us last year in our building. They almost beat Miami and should have this year. So we know what's at stake at West Virginia. If we don't take care of business, they can beat us.
Well, they are clearly frustrated right now. Virginia Tech is. There's no question about it. They've all come unglued at this point, and the crowd is not helping them at all.
Yeah, from the top to the bottom.
The personal foul penalty on the touchdown assessed on the kickoff, so Cooper will just drive it out of the end zone.
You want to see frustration, Craig? Take a look at this. How uncharacteristic is this of Frank Beamer?
Ooh.
He snaps, slaps Wilford. And Wilford is not happy about it. And then Beamer tries to grab him. He wants nothing to do with him at that point. You saw the shot of Wilford a little bit earlier. He's ticked off now, too.
Well, you know, that's very uncharacteristic of Frank Beamer. We talked about the team being unglued. He lost it there a little bit, too. You have
absolutely.
There's just an assistant coach at Indiana who was reprimanded by the school for slapping a player in the helmet during a game. There are some places where that is not tolerated at all. Very out of character for Frank Beamer. Pass is caught by Keith Willis. And he goes out of bounds out at the 38-yard line. We're in Morgantown, West Virginia, where they love their Mountaineers, and perhaps never more than right now, as they lead number 3, West Virginia, 28-7. With time running out in the third quarter, Sean McDonough with Rod Gilmore, Craig James, and Sam Ryan. A chilly night. With the temperature dipping down into the 30s. And a chilly night for the Virginia Tech offense as well. Just 180 yards of total offense. Ball free. Juggled and then gathered back in by Randall. Adam Lenort credited with the tackle at the 41.
That's at least the third fumbled snap tonight. And when you think about it, just about in every phase, we've seen this Virginia Tech team have problems. The penalties stand out more than anything, but some turnovers, their poise is just not there at all tonight. Not here.
And a lot of that has to do with Lynch and that defensive line. They're smacking Grove and the offensive line of Virginia Tech.
Second and 7. And movement. Right over center.
All right.
Ben Lynch has had a good night at the nose.
Prior to the snap. Offside. Defense. Contact foul. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Well, you know, he give him a little pub here, and he but he's got to not listen. He's been doing a good job of seeing the football throughout the night, but he's coming off, and that center knows he's coming off.
Second down and 2. Under 2 minutes left in the third quarter now. Hokies down by 3 touchdowns. Is that a lateral? No. Incomplete pass intended for D'Angelo Hall. Lance Frazier was moving up quickly.
You know what that meant? Frazier. Frazier delivers a blow.
Well, Lance Frazier told us yesterday he's never really had a big hit. Can't think of one. This, my friend, is a pretty big hit. Watch this one here.
And how about 19 Wilford? You know what? He may need his helmet slapped around a little bit. Beamer's trying to get his head in the game. Wilford's one of the best players at Virginia Tech. He's trying to get him playing.
Yeah, he missed that block, and I think it's because he was upset and frustrated.
Third down and 2. They haven't been able to get the ball to D'Angelo Hall tonight. This one's caught for a first down in West Virginia territory. Justin Hamilton to the 43. And here's a team, guys, that likes to do it primarily on the ground. They really haven't been able to run the ball at all tonight. You could say for a while they didn't even try.
Well, you know, but they just need one score. If they get one score and they maintain their poise, then they're only a couple plays away from getting back in the ball game. They need a score, but they've got to keep their poise. They've lost it totally here in the second half.
Play action pass by Randall down the sideline, incomplete, looking for Justin Hamilton. It'll be second down and 10.
Sean, and I do think it's time to throw the football. Like you said, the run hasn't been working. They got to come back and throw the football.
He's thrown 18 times now. 12 out of 18 passing is Randall for 130 and 2 interceptions. Rich Rodriguez trying to fire up the crowd again. Randall takes the pass in the flat, going deep for Wilford. It's intercepted. Brian King has it back for West Virginia. His second interception of the night. The third thrown by Randall.
Almost identical to his first interception.
But King's just smart. He sees the quarterback, sees the play, and the play action.
The question I would have now, guys, is Randall, as Frank Beamer said, has had a great year prior to tonight. But do you think about coming off the bench with Marcus Vick the next time they get the ball back?
Well, on the road in a hostile environment, when you bring a young man in here like this, you know, that's going to be asking quite a bit from him, especially when you're not getting any help up front.
Yeah. Yeah, you would be asking him to save your season, your hopes at a BCS championship game, and I don't think that's quite fair. And you'd like to see Randall work his way through some of this stuff too.
Fourth turnover. Randall's been involved in all 4 of them. Ripping through, Quincy Wilson. All the way out to the 41-yard line. D'Angelo Hall saved another 90-yard plus touchdown. They scored on a 93-yard touchdown pass not long ago to the Mountaineers. That's a 33-yard run by Wilson.
It's just running past people. That offensive line, hat on hat, Rod, they're just controlling the game.
You heard Trev Albert say at halftime he wanted to see some guys get off blocks. We haven't seen it.
We heard Trev Albert say a lot at halftime. Mark May's going to smack him one day. I mean, it's just going to be smoke cities.
139 yards rushing now for Wilson. His understudy, K.J. Harris, out to the 43, perhaps the 44. D'Angelo Hall chopped him down.
It's the double whammy effect, though. K.J. Harris and Quincy Wilson. See, while he's getting water over here and charging the tank up, you got a guy out there keeping the pressure on the defense.
Well, after the run he made against Miami on that screen pass, I think we all knew he was a special player, that he was a hard-running running back. At least folks in Miami knew it. They saw it live.
Harris has rushed for 67. They're over 200 yards combined. Harris slipped down as he made his cut on the final play of the third quarter. The Mountaineers sprinting to the other end of the field, getting ready for the fourth. The images of a memorable night for West Virginia and a frustrating night for Virginia Tech, but still 15 minutes left here in Morgantown. Virginia Tech had allowed just 14 points all season in the third quarter. They gave up 14 to West Virginia in that quarter, and the Mountaineers take a 21-point lead to the fourth, and they have the ball at their own 45-yard line. Third down and 3. Out of the eye. Wilson, first down. K.J. Harris for the first down. They've run hard, but we can't say enough about this offensive line. Beleaguered all year, guys in and out of the lineup, very young and inexperienced, and facing their toughest test tonight. You could say as tough, perhaps, as what they've faced this year, and really dominating right now.
And you got a freshman at the center spot who's just been fantastic for them.
Harris again across midfield, a gain of 2. Mikel Bekee, the tackler. Here's Sam Ryan.
And then K.J. Harris, the oldest member of the Mountaineers, a 24-year-old junior, and the father of 4-year-old Khaleesi told me at first she thought every football player on the field was K.J. and would call them all daddy, but can now recognize his number 1. He told me after the Miami game, the first thing she told him was, "Daddy, you dropped the ball." Well, perhaps she'll remember his touchdown catch tonight, guys.
Indeed, she likely will. He spent time playing minor league baseball with the Texas Rangers, then on to junior college before coming here to West Virginia. Quincy Wilson back in there. He stopped at the 46, so it'll be third down and 6. Rich Rodriguez content to keep this ball on the ground and run some time.
Rick Trickett is the offensive line coach here. Remember Rich Rodriguez making a comment about him? Hey, he goes, he's an old schooler.
So
and he's kept this offense
in the country.
Yeah, he did. You know, and he's been here a couple of different times at West Virginia.
Marshall letting the play clock run down under 10. Now looking to the sideline for some guidance. And now a timeout was the indication from Rich Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah. So much for, who's that, Mark May saying that? Let the clock run down? That's what that running the clock down will do for you, big hog.
Each team with 2 timeouts left. Back to Morgantown after this. Here's one of the great coaches of his era, Don Nehlen, for 2 decades the head coach here at West Virginia. Now he says he's a lousy golfer in retirement. Third down for his old team, and Rasheed Marshall could not get away from Coles Colas. And West Virginia will punt from midfield. Coach Nehlen's successor, Rich Rodriguez, has to be delighted with what's going on here tonight. Hard to figure his team. You know, they played so well against Miami and West Virginia. You wonder, why couldn't they have done this against some of the other teams?
Well, I think you start talking about their offensive line and how some of those guys were being banged up and some were young.
They're right. And Todd James got it off. Here's D'Angelo Hall. Could they use a big return from him? But they won't get it. He's piled up by long snapper Scott Fleming at the 22-yard line as we check game track.
Well, it's been Quincy Wilson all night long, just rolling through this defense, running as hard as any back in the country, and they haven't been able to handle him. And then Randall has had his problems.
Yeah, he's had his problems, but this is a team that's always been out of sync, and Randall was out of sync too. And every time he tried to do something, he really got in trouble. But it was just it's been a tough night for both trenches.
First and 10 Hokies. They need 3 touchdowns. Randall throws on target to Ernest Wilford for an apparent first down at the 33-yard line. The question I would have for you guys is what, if anything, can they do differently, the Hokies, to get something going?
Well, I think offensively they're doing what they have to. They're throwing the football, but I think the real change is going to have to come on defense, and they got to get a play in the special teams area. Something's going to have to happen to change momentum for them. They can't do it just lining up.
You think maybe they can get Wilson and those guys to go take a break and go to the locker room, get off offense? That's about their only shot, is getting Wilson off the field.
Well, here's a Virginia Tech defense thought to be one of the best in the country, and they've been run over tonight by a West Virginia team that's been one of the worst offensive teams in the Big East. Randall whistled down back at the 28-yard line. Jason Hardy, a backup defensive end, junior from San Mateo, California, credited with the sack.
I can tell you one thing that I might change is I wouldn't be setting up behind the center. I'd move the pocket right now.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where Vic would really help them, is his ability to get around the corner. So Randall could do that, but they can't sit him in the pocket.
Yeah, and they can't put that man in the ball game right now. He's been on the sideline for, what, 4 hours now?
And it's cold.
Yeah.
Getting down to 11.5 minutes left. Randall keeps. And is chopped down in the open field, well short of the first down marker by Lance Frazier.
No.
Chopped down at the 33. That'll bring up third down. They need about 10 and a half to move the chains.
It's that man again, Frazier.
He's had a good night. This entire defense has had a terrific night. The Virginia Tech offense has not scored. The touchdown was scored by their defense, if you tuned in late, on a controversial fumble return.
They've been 3 plays and out 3 times in the second half. This is one of their longest drives in the second half.
Just about a half to convert, third down situation here. Randall zings it and it's dropped by Ernest Wilford. He had first down yardage. He was about a yard beyond the marker, but did not catch it.
Before the game, on the field, talking to a professional scout from one of the big guys right in here, and I asked him who the best players on the field were, etc. Wilford's one of them that he pointed out right away, and he's not having a good game.
Nope.
And your stars on the road, when you're down, they got to perform.
Well, and he's a senior. You want your seniors to handle this atmosphere, but it's been a tough night for him, and I'm sure he's still thinking about some of the things that have happened on the sideline.
Here's one that smacked in the helmet by Frank Beamer. It'll be interesting to see how much of an issue is made of that in the coming days. 36-yard punt, 4-yard return. Time running out on Virginia Tech's undefeated dream.
ESPN's College Football Wednesday. Brought to you by Singular, the wireless company that fits you best.
Back in Morgantown, where the locals can sense the big upset. West Virginia, 2-touchdown underdog, leads by 3 touchdowns with 10.5 minutes to play. And the Mountaineers, who've moved the ball on the ground all night long, have it first and 10 at their own 34. Quincy Wilson ahead for 2. That's one of the least eventful runs of the night for Quincy.
Yeah, but he's delivered tonight. Boy, did he deliver on that one. This man runs as hard as anybody in the country.
Well, he's pumped life into that offensive line that was supposed to be suspect. And K.J. Harris, don't leave him out of the equation either. He's run the ball well.
Well, I think they feed off one another and they set the tone, certainly for that offense.
227 yards rushing against this highly touted Virginia Tech defense. Wilson again into the line, but they're content now just to run clock. I think they will start to heed Mark May's advice, guys, and run that play clock all the way down to the end, or at least they should.
Well, I'm just hoping that the security folks around here are heeding the advice they've been getting for days and making sure they secure things around here, because there's going to be a big party afterwards.
Well, the party started about 4 o'clock this afternoon for most of the students. Many of them didn't even go to class.
Well, there was a big line at a convenience store as we were driving up the.
It's a well-hydrated student body.
For a Slurpee.
They're well-hydrated.
I think this is the goalpost game for those folks.
Well, let's hope if this does stay this way and West Virginia pulls off the upset, that the people conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. Coach Rodriguez has been asking that all week in the local media, no matter what the result of the game is. Win or lose, conduct yourselves with class and be proud. And let's hope, regardless of the outcome, that is the case here tonight.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't want to see anything diminish what could be a great night for this football program less than 9 minutes from now if it stays this way.
Well, I do believe that if this is going to change for Virginia Tech, they've got to make a play in this area, special teams, a return or a block. They need something to happen, and it better happen soon.
Well, and again, he's been coached not to kick it to D'Angelo Hall.
Todd James the punt. D'Angelo Hall nothing. Well, it's the Virginia Tech special teams that get all the pub, but it's West Virginia special teams that have done a great job tonight. Abraham Jones with that tackle. When we spoke with Frank Beamer this week, he said this situation reminded him a lot of 1999 when his team came in here to Morgantown undefeated with Michael Vick inching closer toward a possibility of playing in the BCS National Championship game. West Virginia was just a little bit out of sync, but had a lot of talent. He said, I see the same thing again with West Virginia. They're better than their record indicates. Well, in 1999, his team came from behind to win on the last play of the game, but they weren't this far behind. And Randall was taken down. He got across the line of scrimmage before he was taken down by Pat Liebig, a freshman from Naples, Florida. Reserve defensive end.
And that's a coverage sack. West Virginia is not giving up anything deep. They're really laying off, and they had everybody covered.
And everybody went deep.
Yep.
Virginia Tech sent everybody deep, and Randall's not moving the pocket. I'd make a call that gets him out of the pocket on the perimeter to throw in the football.
4 wide receivers spread the field. Flag down as Randall spins down at the 34-yard line. Flag thrown in the middle of the line.
Number 98, Matt Liebig.
Offsetting personal foul penalties.
I don't know.
I've just never seen a Virginia Tech team become, this undisciplined with penalties.
Live ball, personal foul, gets the offense. Live ball, personal foul, gets the defense. Penalties offset, still second down.
Of course, last year midseason they went into a skid, lost to West Virginia prior to that. They wound up with 4 losses last year.
But that skid last year, Sean, was because they had a lot of injuries on defense and people ran on them. That's not the case tonight. They were pretty healthy coming into this ball game. They've just been pounded tonight.
With an even tougher schedule upcoming with Miami and Pittsburgh waiting in the wings. Thrown to the near side. Wilford the catch. Or rather, Chris Clifton the catch. Reserve wide receiver and sometime quarterback, and Lance Frazier was up quickly to knock down Clifton. Made just his 3rd catch of the year.
Well,
3rd down and 4.
If Adam Jones is called Pac-Man, we'd have to call Frazier the Bang Man or something.
I mean, you obviously didn't play a lot of video games. You got to come up with another video game.
Video game, does it have to be relevant with Video World?
Yeah, if you're going to use Pac-Man, you got to come up with another video game instead of Pac-Man.
Stone Man?
Run taking forever to develop and nothing doing. Cedric Humes. Got just across the line of scrimmage. They have to go for it now, don't they, fellas? They're sending the punting unit on, but you got 6:20 to go. You need 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
and
but
it's only 3 yards to go for a first down.
I think you got to kick it. I think it gets embarrassing here. You go for this.
I'd be less worried, Rob, about being embarrassed than I would be about trying to keep whatever hopes I have of going undefeated and being in the national championship game alive.
I don't know. I'd kick it away here, too.
I'd go for it. I think
my own 35-yard line.
6 minutes to go. 3 touchdowns. And 2 timeouts left. And add insult to injury, a horrible punt. Out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Just a 17-yard punt. And the way West Virginia is running this football, who knows when or even if Virginia Tech will get it back. West Virginia on the verge of the biggest upset in the history of the program. You saw the graphic a moment ago. The highest ranked opponent they've ever defeated was number 4 in the nation. They've done that twice. Virginia Tech number 3 in all of the major polls this week, including the BCS, averaging 45.5 per game. They've scored 7 tonight, and that was a defensive score. K.J. Harris. And guys, if it stays this way, here's another lovely parting gift from a school that's going to remain in the Big East, in this case West Virginia, to a departing school, Virginia Tech, which next year will begin play in the ACC. We saw Syracuse pummel Boston College last weekend at the Carrier Dome. Syracuse staying in the Big East, Boston College departing.
A lot of talk about that. I don't know that it means very much to the players. The players we talked to yesterday basically said, hey, we know we can beat this team. We're motivated to deal with them. I don't think they worry so much about Virginia Tech leaving the Big East. So they just feel like they're better than they are.
I think the presidents and the athletic directors and perhaps the coaches have some animosity. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
And I think my advice, guys, to all of those people involved in this process would be to just be quiet. You know, there really haven't been many people who covered themselves in glory in this process. So, for example, the folks at Syracuse, the chancellor, Buzz Shaw, and the athletic director, Jake Crowder, were saying they were personally offended by what Boston College did. I mean, they themselves were hosting the folks from the ACC and talking about joining that conference. What are they offended about?
It's big business. It's nothing personal with anybody. Yeah, it's all about money.
That's why I think they should all be quiet. Let it all play out however it's going to play itself out. And don't be casting aspersions at other people when you're just as guilty of what you're accusing other folks of. A lot of hypocrisy throughout this entire process. Wilson carries for a first down, an 11-yard run on 3rd down and 8. He goes to the 40-yard line of West Virginia. For Virginia Tech, pardon me, Jeff Burke, who's had a great night at guard, a little bit hobbled back near the line of scrimmage, and he's being helped off the field. He's had a terrific night, the junior from Huber Heights, Ohio.
And I believe if I were handing out a game ball right now, it wouldn't be to Wilson. I know he's done a nice job. It'd be to the offensive line.
You know, Wilson would get one of mine. I'd give it to an offensive lineman as well, but Wilson would have to get a game ball.
If you only got one ball.
He gets the thing.
But that offensive line, who has been talked about, questioned, they haven't performed.
I hear you.
They came out and they gave them the hole.
I hear you, and you can say the same about Marshall, who threw the ball well tonight. But for me, Wilson established the tone, the way he ran hard. He was so physical, and he was not intimidated by the Virginia Tech defense.
We talk about the players may not care. Those are the fans you hear chanting ACC, ACC at the Atlantic Coast Conference bound Hokies. This rivalry will continue on. They're scheduled to play at least a couple of more seasons. They play for the Black Diamond Trophy, which is a reference to this region's history with the coal industry. And that Black Diamond Trophy is going to be here in Morgantown for the next year, barring a miraculous turn of events now. K.J. Harris, the ball carrier.
You know, Sean, we're about 3 minutes and 30 seconds away from what I think will be another example of a goalpost game. Goalpost coming down.
They better
folks,
get...
if you're here in Morgantown, don't burn the couches. Don't set the fires.
It's tradition.
Win with class. Don't diminish a great performance by your players and your coaching staff.
They're going to try and protect those goalposts, but I don't see that happening.
To the 35-yard line goes Quincy Wilson, and the clock runs under 3 minutes remaining. Now, guys, the question I would have as we take a look at the BCS standings brought to us by Allstate, would Virginia Tech be officially dead, do you think, tonight? I mean, they were third. They do have games at Miami, Pittsburgh.
I think they're dead because they're not going to have enough standings in the rankings to get them back up there. Virginia Tech losing tonight, they can kiss it goodbye.
Well, they get killed by that, but their strength of schedule is also so poor, they're going to fall behind all these one-loss teams in the BCS. In my opinion, I don't think they have a shot at getting back in it.
Marshall lost the snap. Well, there are an awful lot of one-loss teams that are doing a little dance tonight. But there's a lot of football to be played. All those teams are just worried, guys, about winning out.
It is. And there's hope now. And that's really what the coaches will say. You've got a chance, fellas. Everybody has one loss. Just keep your game going. But how about West Virginia? Last year, they got beat pretty good by Miami, but they won 4 in a row. They almost beat them this year, and look what they're doing. They
won 6 of their last 7 to the Mountaineers last year to go to the Continental Tire Bowl, where they lost to Al Grove's Virginia Cavaliers. And they're hoping to go on a similar run this year. Their schedule was looking a little daunting. There's Central Florida, but then BC, Pitt, Syracuse, still to play. Wilson for another first down on 4th down and 6. He got 14. And the party begins in earnest now on that sideline as they douse Coach Rodriguez with that Gatorade bucket. Think back to the shots of him, guys, on October 2nd in Miami. He said, I felt like I got kicked in the stomach at the end of that game. His team seconds from a huge upset, lost on a last-second field goal. There'll be no such feeling for him tonight.
But how about the feeling for this guy that years ago was coaching at a small school where they were just excited to get first downs? You know, they were talking about, let's just score some points. And now he's out here beating the #3 team in the country.
He's got his team in the victory formation.
Well, we wondered if Virginia Tech would get the ball back. They will not. Marshall takes a knee. Biggest win of Rich Rodriguez's coaching career in this his 3rd season as head man of his alma mater, the Mountaineers.
Oh, they're going to be some couches on fire tonight.
Don't say that. Let's hope they're not.
Let's hope they're not.
Hey, that's a tradition around here. It's what they do.
Well, just because something is a tradition doesn't make it a good idea. And the fire department has gone to great lengths to prevent that from happening tonight. We can only hope their efforts are successful. They will not have to snap it again. Craig Beamer and the Hokies knocked from the ranks of the undefeated. And the students storm the field here in Morgantown. Biggest win ever for the Mountaineers in terms of the ranking of the opponent, as West Virginia defeats the 3rd-ranked Virginia Tech Hokies. And there was nothing fluky about this, guys. They earned this.
It was a good old-fashioned one. It was a physical ball game. They ran the ball down the throats of the Virginia Tech defensive men all night long.
The win gets West Virginia to 3-4. Certainly does a lot to strengthen their hopes for a bowl game. And Virginia Tech drops to 6-1. West Virginia had 426 yards of offense, 264 on the ground. Led by Wilson, who had 178 yards rushing, and Harris had 77.
There's contemplation going on about those goalposts, but I think the wisdom of the students is, yeah, I better stay away from these guys.
So far.
Yeah.
We'll have more of the post-game scene and coverage on tonight's game within SportsCenter, which comes your way next. Once again, the final score here in Morgantown, West Virginia, the Mountaineers 28 and the Virginia Tech Hokies 7. Now for Rod Gilmore, Craig James, Sam Ryan, and our entire ESPN crew, Sean McDonough saying good night from jubilant Morgantown, West Virginia. Sports Center is next.
What's up, Sports Center? Hanging with you till 12:30. Baseball game going on, Game 4 of the World Series. We'll get you to that as soon as it's over. We got a lot of stuff to tell you about, including you got to figure Northern Illinois now has got to move up in the rankings, right?
I would say so, because there's something falling from the top. You've got a night to remember in Morgantown. Up there they say, let's go Mountaineers, let's go drink some beers. They will do that tonight. 0-22 against top 3 teams in their history. Then Virginia Tech came to town, and the Hokies are leaving, and they have lost. Sean McDonough and company had the call. We send it back to them in Morgantown, where it figures to be bedlam.
The scene continues jubilant here in Morgantown, West Virginia, with fans flooding the field. One of the great wins in the history of the West Virginia program, and in terms of the ranking of the opponent, the biggest win. They've never defeated a team ranked this high. You knew they had a chance, guys. It didn't seem like a great chance, but they played Miami to the final seconds and almost pulled off the upset a couple of weeks ago against the Hurricanes. They beat this Virginia Tech team at Blacksburg last year.
Well, they beat them, and they beat them bad, didn't they? It was all physical.
And it was really one of those games where we were on the field before the game. We felt like this was going to be a game where Virginia Tech would pound West Virginia's little soft 3-3-5 defense. Well, everybody got to tell West Virginia they were going to get pounded, because Virginia Tech could not stand up to West Virginia.
They couldn't stand up to Quincy Wilson, who was outstanding. He really ran the ball down their throats tonight.
He had 178 yards rushing for the night. West Virginia had 426 yards of total offense. They had 264 of that on the ground. It does raise the question, was Virginia Tech overrated? They really hadn't played anybody before tonight.
You really have to be battle tested, and anybody who doesn't believe that's crazy. When you go out and you're starting to play people in your conference, it's a rivalry game, and you aren't ready for it. The speed of West Virginia tonight took control of Virginia Tech.
Well, they talk about the speed, but they were really very physical, too. I mean, you have to hand it to West Virginia. Up front, on both sides of the ball, they dominated Virginia Tech. Look at the way they finished runs with Wilson. K.J. Harris, he finished runs. The defense, they sacked Randall every time they got an opportunity to throw the ball. They made plays down the field. They dominated the line of scrimmage throughout the night. There was nothing phony about this. West Virginia was simply a more physical, a bigger, better football team than Virginia Tech tonight.
So many uncharacteristic aspects of this game for Virginia Tech. 4 turnovers. They had 13 penalties in the football game. We saw Frank Beamer lose his cool on the sideline, smack one of his players in the helmet. The other coach is very happy somewhere down in that mess with Sam Ryan is Rich Rodriguez.
Well, that's right. Rich Rodriguez with the ear-to-ear grin, the biggest win in your career, the biggest upset for your team. What does this victory say about your guys?
Well, I'm really proud of our guys. We hung in there all year. We've had some tough losses, but our guys never quit. Their work ethic has been super, and the attitude has been super, and they really played hard today and played well against a very good football team. I'm really proud of them.
On both sides of the ball, they dominated this one. Quincy Wilson, what can you say about his game tonight?
Well, he did a great job. You know, Kevin Jones is a great back, but we think we had a pretty good one ourselves. And everybody was kind of talking about Miami and Virginia Tech, and little West Virginia was maybe a little forgotten about. And today, I think our guys made some noise.
How much did you guys feed off of the Miami game coming into this one?
Well, it gave us some confidence. You know, right now, obviously, we think we should be undefeated in the Big East, but Miami got the win. But our guys were confident coming in. I knew we'd play hard because of the great crowd we have and the atmosphere, but our young guys hung in there, made plays, and as I said, hopefully this will propel us to a few more wins.
You talk about the atmosphere, a hostile environment, they call it here. What can you say about your fans?
Our fans were super. I think they really played an impact today, because I think Tech had some problems with their cadence. They had some communication problems on their center quarterback snaps, and it made a big impact for our defense.
Rich Rodriguez, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Sean?
All right, Sam, and to take nothing away from Coach Rodriguez and the Mountaineers, but you wonder if Virginia Tech was looking ahead even just a little bit to the game a week and a half from now against Miami. That game suddenly doesn't hold as much luster for Virginia Tech. Here's Scott.
Thanks, everybody. Should be a wild night in Morgantown. And in each of the last 3 seasons, the first loss of the year for the Hokies came against an opponent which was not ranked. And in each of the previous 2 seasons, the Hokies never really seemed to recover from that loss, losing 3 of the final 5 games in each season. Guys, Reese, Trev, and Mark join us now. They played a cupcake schedule coming in, did the Hokies, and they took it on the chin, sorted out for us.
Well, Scott, you're right. They really hadn't been tested, certainly hadn't been tested on the road before tonight. And as we watch this game, you see the West Virginia team, and they do this spread offense. But you know what? I don't know that I recall seeing a team spread that plays as a physical brand of football rushing the ball as West Virginia does.
You mentioned that in the second quarter. I mean, I think if you look at West Virginia, so many times you hear about these West Coast offenses and how they're going to go out and spread you out and throw the ball. Yeah, West Virginia spreads you out, and then they get blocking angles on you, and they dominate, just like Reese said up front. I think that was the story of the game. West Virginia's offensive line dominated Virginia Tech. I mean, Virginia Tech simply could not get off blocks, and Quincy Wilson, time after time, all he needs is a little hole, squirts through the hole, is a great cutback runner. I'm telling you right now, Quincy Wilson is good a running back as I've seen. Runs hard, has a lot of speed. You see him right here. Here he is, 2nd down and 8. Passing situation? No. All they're going to do is spread you out right up the middle. How many different guys of Virginia Tech have a shot at him? Look at him again. Defensive line. Get off a stinking block, Reese Davis. Look at that. Right up the middle. Time after time again. This is, they're on the whole 5-yard line. You know what they're going to do. They're not going to throw right up the middle. That was the whole story. West Virginia's offensive line dominating, and Virginia Tech simply not getting off blocks.
Okay, Mark, let me hit you with a second guess, and this is admittedly a second guess. When Brian Randall struggled so mightily, turning the ball over, had you been Frank Beamer, would you have gone to Marcus Vick?
Absolutely, because this team needed to get shaken up offensively. For some reason, they couldn't get going, running the football, throwing the football. They were out of rhythm. And I think the key to that was West Virginia. They took Virginia Tech out of their game plan. Once Virginia Tech got behind in this football game, they had to play catch-up. They were made one-dimensional. They could not run the ball. They came in the game expecting to run the ball. When they had to pass the football, they could not get the job done. But for me, if I'm on the sidelines, I'm making that call. I'm putting Marcus Vick in that football game.
Let's put a little big-picture perspective on this game now. And obviously, with Virginia Tech's schedule, they, for all practical purposes, have been knocked out of the net.